Good afternoon and welcome to the Cinch County Grounds. We've got some T20 action for you. Vitality Blast, League 2 for the Steelbacks taking on Middlesex this afternoon. Earlier on, Middlesex won the toss. They elected to have a bowl first. They will line up the visitors as follows. They're just in the huddle at the moment before they make their way out to the middle. It'd be Abby Wybrow, Gaia Gale, Saskia Hawley, Scarlett Hughes, Layla Judge, Anaya Patel, Sonali Patel, Izzy Routledge, Pippa Sproul, Finty Trussler, and Katie Wolf. And the Steelbacks will be batting first in the middle. They will line up as follows. Gemma Marriott, the captain, Mabel Reed, Amelia Kemp, Bethany Ascott, Chloe Hill, Alicia Preslin, Lenny Sims, Ella Phillips, Anisha Patel, Ava Clive, and Liz Russell. Charlie Harden, welcome back to the commentary box. Excited about this fixture?
Yeah, very, very excited here at the Cinch County Ground. It's a lovely, well, is it a lovely day? Not particularly. A few little hints of blue sky, little tiny patches of grey, and in general, I'd say a pretty white, high covering of clouds. Second against third today, Dan. Middlesex in second. They've had a win and a loss. A big win against Kent at Lords. I was there, actually. It was my birthday.
Was it?
Not that really matters. But then they lost the next game to Leicestershire. And Northampton just won game so far with a victory against Worcestershire by 39 runs. Two teams, second and third, looking to go at it today.
Absolutely. A top of the table clash. It's going to be the captain, Gemma Marriott, on strike to open the batting for the Steelbacks. Mabel Reid at the non-strikers end. I think we'll see a little bit of power from Mabel Reid when she gets on strike. It's going to be Patel opening the bowling for Middlesex from the David Capel ends. Starts with a stylish looking shot at cover.
Yeah, that was quite a nice punch, wasn't it? Straight to the fielder though, so no run. Sonali Patel got pretty well at Lords, actually. 2 for 16. Took a couple of wickets, bowled very well, bowled straight and good pace.
Bit of a bumper, back of a length and cut away by Marriott. Beats the fielder inside that 25-yard circle and disappears over the boundary rope for the first runs of the afternoon. The first boundary as well. The captain's away.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. A little bit of a drag down there from Patel. Not quite delivery for this field. Packed offside field in the ring. Anything short. Marriott's just thrown the hands at it. Gone away to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, it was a bit of a long hop, wasn't it? And duly punished by the Steelbacks captain. 2 fielders outside the circle. One at deep square, one at deep third. That one again, short and wide. And will be signalled wide as well by the umpire stood at the David Capel. And what do you made of the pitch? It looks pretty green from here.
Well, the first question I asked, wasn't it, when I came in this morning, was which one are we playing on? But it looks really nice out there. We talked about, and there's a little bit of green on the surface in these white ball games. The ball tends to skid on a little bit, can be a little bit nicer for the batters, especially in the power play with that new ball.
That one whipped through the leg side. Should just be a single, and it is. Yeah, you're right. That little bit of extra, or that live grass just seems to help that white ball just skip off the surface a fraction, which everybody's going to enjoy. The bowlers are going to enjoy it because they're going to get a little bit more pace to work with. That effort ball is going to be rewarded. And the batter's obviously going to enjoy it because of that pace on the ball. Just making shot making and stroke making slightly more straightforward. 6 for no loss halfway through this opening over of Patel here for Middlesex. Starts from a big full toss outside off stump. Has the protection at deep third, so he does get away with it. And Mabel Reid gets off the mark.
Yeah, Sonali Patel got off to a brilliant start at Lords. Wicket with the first ball of the innings. Straight after, Middlesex had posted a pretty good score. They got up to 160 for 6 in that first game. And Amy Gordon came out to bat. Bowled first ball, stump cartwheeling.
No better sight for a fast bowler, is there? That one again, hanging outside off stump. Marriott unable to connect. And good pace so far from Sonali Patel here from the David Capel end. Marriott will feel like she's missed out on that previous delivery, though. That one driven, but straight at the fielder at short cover. Dot ball to end the over. Good start for both teams, I'd say. Charlie, 7 for no loss.
Yeah, it was a slightly measured start, I'd say, from both. Sort of jabbing in the early rounds, you know. But that last shot there, just signs of the pitch really coming onto the bat nicely there. A nice drive straight to short extra cover. Came off with timing, lovely sound off the bat. And the ball just skipping off its surface. But we're going to have obviously a new bowler. Don't know why I said there was going to be a new bowler. It's the first over from the end, isn't it, Dan? I'm just going to be quiet. You take it away.
Thanks, Charlie. Wonderfully teed up. But you are right. There is going to be a bowler here showing for the first time this afternoon. It's going to be Katie Wolf to open the bowling from the Lynn Wilson Centre ends here at the Cinch County Ground. Bit more pace for the two Steelbacks openers to contend with. Slight change in the field as well. The fielder on the leg side has gone backward of square on the boundary, but other than that, identical to what we had in the first over, and starts on a very full length outside off stump, and it's toe ended. The fielder inside the circle.
Katie Wolf, fresh off the back of a fifer. First game, 5 for 19 from her 4 overs, which she did very well. She bowled with aggressions throughout all 4. constantly threatening the stumps. I'm sure we'll see something similar today.
There we go. Charlie Harden, you've played this game before, haven't you, Charlie? Just spears that one in, targeting middle stump. Bit of swing on it as well, I think, there from Wolf, just drifting into the pads of Mabel Reid.
Yeah, one wicket was Genson, another stump cartwheeling on last Friday. One striking pads as well.
Well, again, Nick past the keeper. It's going to run away for 4 up to the members. Bit of fortune for Mabel Reid, but it doesn't really matter in T20 cricket. Steelbacks move to 12.
Yeah, good delivery there. And Wolf just tempting outside the off stump with enough movement just to take the edge. Wolf's clearly in good form. She's running in with good rhythm. And Middlesex will be looking to definitely take at least, I reckon they'll be looking to get them 2 down before the end of the power play.
Yeah, 3's the magic number, isn't it, when you're bowling in a power play? They're going to be up against it here. It's a good opening pair in this format for the Steelbacks, the skipper and then Mabel Reid. Mabel Reid will give you a little bit of a power hitter, bit of an old-fashioned pinch hitter type role for Mabel Reid. And Jammer Marriott with the power that we saw in that first over, but one that'll be there for, or one that will want to be there for a much longer stay. 12 for no loss. Both of the batters on 5. And a good over though. Just that edge down to the boundary, kind of spoiling the figures for Wolf, but other than that, Northampton not able to get the ball off the cut strip at the moment. Nice shot down the ground. Middle, they're going to take the... Nowhere near it, were they? Hit and run, wasn't it, to mid-on? Would have been gone by a distance had the fielder have hit, but Reid survives. Takes the single, end of the over, 13 for no loss.
I think it's been a really good start for Middlesex, to be honest. They haven't taken that wicket, yes, but actually they really keep pressure on. They've made Northants already this morning work a little bit harder for their runs than perhaps they normally would. And I do like this field. Very close on the offside. Very, very small gaps that the Northants batters are struggling to find. And it's building up the pressure here. We might be seeing a big shot relatively soon. Sonali Patel continues.
Nicely played. That's a gorgeous looking cricket shot. Down the ground, uses the pace of Patel, just leans on it. Straight drive for Mabel Reid. We saw a bit of confusion, a bit of anxiety the ball before. That one, stylish.
Yeah, she hardly tried to really hit that off the ground, did she? Just pure timing. Lovely shot there from Mabel Reid. As you say, is just to climb up through the strike rate now, trying to be a little bit more aggressive. That's a lovely shot.
Yeah, got to make use of the power play, which moves to 10.
Again, another sign that our predictions proving true with a nice little skip off the surface and also just hurrying its way along to the boundary for that last on drive. A shot which I think most people, other than the greats of the game, they need a little bit of help from the pitch to time it well.
Yeah, one of the harder shots, isn't it? That one thrashed through the offside, an attempted stop at extra cover in vain by the Middlesex fielder. Crashes into those cinch boards for 4. 2 boundaries in the over. Mabel Reid starting to tick.
Yeah, soon as Middlesex miss their mark, it looks like it's going to be a relatively straightforward day to get the ball away. I'm not saying that I would have done that. I'm saying that was a good shot, but it does look like it's a little bit helped with a nice pitch they're playing on here for the batters.
Straight back at the bowler. Another quick single taken. That one a little bit more comfortable. Throws to the keeper's end and Marriott makes her grounds. Good running for the pair in the middle for the Steelbacks. There would have been a little bit of doubt from that one, the over before, wouldn't there? But both batters set off immediately. 21 for no loss. You mentioned the pitch. It's kind of what you want to see, though. You want to see that from a T20 surface. You want to see pace on the ball. You want to see runs. You want to be a high-scoring affair. That's nicely played. Could be two. Could be a look of two here. Marriott's just guided it into the leg side. Settles on the single.
No, I completely agree. And these Northants batters, I'm really enjoying their intent towards the fielders in the ring as well. The first of the two being a little bit more dangerous than the second, but good intent either way.
Reed back on strike and back down the ground. Beats Sonali Patel. It's going to be a long chase up to the rope and the ball wins. Dive in vain in the end. Expensive over for Middlesex. Mabel Reed, 3 boundaries off it. She moves to 19. Takes the score up to 26 for no loss.
Yeah, Sonali Patel couldn't quite find her rhythm there in that over. She had a pretty good start in the first one, but just dropped a few too many balls just full of a length, which is proving to be a good area for the batters. But got to say, Mabel Reed did incredibly well to get those away and hit a couple of nice shots down the ground. And from the first 3 overs or so, it really is proving that this is going to be a day where the bowlers are going to have to stay patient. They're going to have to hold their length most importantly. And anything just full of a length is coming onto the bat nicely, and anything short is sitting up for the batters. So it's going to be a tough little first stint this for the Middlesex bowling side. Marriott now facing up. I think she'll, as you mentioned, continue to look to rotate and play a slightly more anchor role in this innings.
Yeah, slight change in the field as well. The field continues to change. This time I think it's just a personnel change, but the 2 fielders that are outside of that 25-yard circle are both on the offside now. One at deep third, one at deep extra cover. So Katie Wolf here cannot bowl 2 straight. She's got no protection on the leg side other than the 3 fielders inside the circle. Starts outside off stump full. Marriott just takes the single to one of those boundary riders.
It feels almost a defensive change quite early, doesn't it, this? Almost to say we're going to put an extra fielder deep on the offside and we're going to bowl wide outside the off stump. And take the stumps almost more out of play. And I can understand the fielding change because we've had a few drives go through the cover region. They want some protection out there, but it's feel a little bit defensive for me.
Bit of an off cut at that time, I think. Another quick single taken. Mabel Reed this time hits it straighter, so that single slightly less risky than the one we saw from Katie Wolf's first over. Starting to time the ball well. Mabel Reed, it's starting to find the middle of the bat more often than not. A bit of a drag down, gets away with it. Marriott couldn't catch up. Goes through to the gloves of the keeper safely.
I would be interested after the off cut you mentioned. Well picked out there, I must say.
Thanks, Charlie.
How much of a role the slower ball is going to have in this game with the pace on often going to the boundary so far?
It's down the ground, straight back over the bowler's head. Couple of bounces, skips down to the rope. 4 for Marriott. Just think it's going to be a hard day. It's a good batting pitch. It's proven that already. There's good pace in it. The outfield here is lightning fast. It was quick at the start of the season. We've had a very dry period of weather, haven't we? And this has just got quicker and quicker. It was a signature of what we saw here on Friday night when the Steelbacks beat Gloucestershire. The outfield was lightning fast. 32 for no loss in the 4th over. That one timed incredibly well. That's going to be another 4. There was no gap really between those 2 fielders lurking at point for Middlesex, but Gemma Marriott dissected the pair of them perfectly. Back-to-back boundaries for the skipper.
Yeah, really nice timing there, straight through the gap. And again, 2 balls there. Katie Wolf hasn't massively missed her mark. That ball just back of a good length, and the previous delivery going over the top of her head, just full of a good length, proving the day for the batters.
I think it's going to be 3 in a row. It's going to be a long chase down to that pocket, and the ball's going to win once more. 3 in a row for Marriott. The runs are flowing at home for the Steelbacks. It's 40 on the board at the end of the 4th over.
It's a good start then for Northants. 40 for none. And Mabel Reid tucking in, as well as Gemma Marriott. So, Dan Chaz, and welcome to Hector. Hello, Hector.
Good afternoon, Charlie.
This first one's short from Pauline. It's pierced the gap in the offside, and a little hand to it has prevented a 4, and it will just be a 2. Close little chance at the striker's end, but just 2 runs added. Thoughts on the start here for both sides, Hector?
Yeah, well, unsurprising, really, to see them go to a bit of pace off after the opening 4 overs. As you two are quite rightly saying, pace on, and the ball is flying around to the boundary. Gemma Marriott will be happy after a quick start.
Cut down. Oh, this is beating the fielder. That's a misfield. It's going to run away to the boundary for 4. Another sign of a lightning rapid outfield. Anything that pierces the infield is running away for 4. And that's another boundary for Mabel Reid. And despite pace off, we think is the better strategy. It's still skidding onto that bat and looks beautiful out there, doesn't it?
Well, these two have been fantastic at the top of the order. Mabel Reid coming off a nice 35 last weekend.
A little bit more lofty this time from Orley, which I like. A little bit slow, a little bit more above the eye line. Previous delivery that went to the boundary, a little bit more skiddy and faster. I think Saskia will be looking just to find the pace on this wicket. This is full and driven straight past. Short extra cover. And it brought an almighty cheer from the Northants balcony. And another boundary that moves this opening partnership to 50.
Yeah, beautiful shot there from Mabel Reid. I'm surprised here at the field. These two batsmen have been predominantly playing into the offside so far this morning, but as you say, here we go. The fielder pushing out now to deep cover. Patel, that is, going out onto the boundary.
That is some incredible work there, Hector. This one's short and punched straight out towards that fielder. You deserve a medal.
Great start to the day.
Hector, I think you should just pack up now.
Yeah, that's me done.
Look at that. You complained about, or you didn't complain, you pointed out the fact that there should be a fielding change. The field change happened, and then the next ball went out there and prevented a 4.
My door is always open.
Well, now they're not listening to you anymore because they've brought that fielder in. Maybe they think that Gemma Marriott is a little bit less fond of the covers. This is full and straight again, lofted and driven back to the bowler. That ends the over. That's the 5th done, and it's 51 for none. Northants batters going at a very, very good rate.
Yeah, I don't think Middlesex have done anything too bad, to be honest, to start the day. As we say, ball coming on fast and it's racing across the outfield. But I think Middlesex can be happy. And as you mentioned earlier, they've just got to stay patient here, wait for the mistakes to come. It's a good wicket to bat on today at the county ground.
Yeah, it looks good. But I do think that skipper Saskia will have noticed that the balls that she slightly lofted up more with a little bit less pace didn't find the boundary. And ones that she really stuck in there a little bit full, a little bit faster, even the one she dropped short, even though it was still at a pretty good speed, went off to the rope.
Yeah, and a little bit straighter as well, really, trying to cramp these two opening batsmen for room. We've seen they really enjoy the width that was on offer early doors, but I think against the two paces that opened up, I thought they bowled nicely.
Izzy Routledge is in a slog out towards a wide mid-on. Is a single.
Yeah, a bit of a heave there from the captain, Gemma Marriott. 30 balls for her 23 runs last week, so she's clearly looking to up the ante today, and it's a good day for scoring. Slightly overcast, though.
Down the track, and this one is thumped over mid-off. What a glorious shot. And Izzy Routledge is another bowler that Middlesex have put on and has gone to the fence. It's a very, very tough day this for Middlesex so far. As you mentioned, Hector, they're not really missing their line and length too much, are they? And they're getting put away.
Yeah, well, again, a bit of width on offer there, and all Reid really had to do was just lean into it and have a nice swing. No one out there on the long off boundary, so As soon as she gets it over that ring, 3 runs for her, but very nice strike. Rutledge under pressure early on.
Yeah, she waited really well for that ball, pumped it over the top. It's going to be a really interesting little period, this, as the slow bowlers are almost going to get used up here at the start of this innings. And I wonder if a little bit later down the line, if all the spin has been used up, whether they go to a more part-timer or whether they stick the pace back on and see what happens. It's going to be tricky to know what the conditions will do throughout the day. Drive is beautifully timed, and a misfield is going to bring about a single.
Yeah, well, that's a shame, because you could see they had a slight plan there to Mabel Reid, the fielder in its short extra cover, perhaps just waiting for Reid to be a bit early on one and scoop it up to her, but she's going to stay in for Marriott as well, as the cover goes out to deep cover.
Long on inside the circle. Dribbles out to mid-wicket. Yeah, you got to say Northants will be incredibly happy with this start. 1 ball left in the power play. Let's see if they can earn themselves an extra boundary before, as you imagine, the field will spread. And a single ends a brilliant power play for Northants. 58 for none. And bowlers have not missed their lines and length by too much and still been punished. Brilliant start from this opening pair. Reid and Marriott put on 58.
Yeah, the dream start for the Steelbacks. Middlesex, as we mentioned, haven't done much wrong, but they'll be happy with the opportunity to put a couple more fielders out on the rope. Gemma Marriott, the captain, such a calming presence out there. With the explosiveness of Mabel Reid, it makes for a brilliant combination at the top of the order.
It certainly does, and they've made Middlesex pay. But we've got a new bowler coming on. Tanaya Patel, who is one of 8 changes from the last game against Leicestershire. Middlesex got a huge squad of 20 plus. As Tanaya Patel starts her spell and begins with a full toss, and that's going to be 4. Straight off the bat, swept round the corner, no fielder out at fine leg, and then is going to be a boundary. But just to continue my point, 20 plus in this squad, and they are erring on the side of rotation in the early side that starts the tournament, and they're going to be probably settling their 11 towards the end as it gets to crunch time.
Yeah, 7 changes after their first match against Kent, which went very nicely for them at Lord's. And just a couple of days later, they had to make the change, ring the changes for Leicestershire.
Cut shot goes out towards deep cover, and Middlesex are very happy now to just sit back and defend. We've got a deep cover, a long off and long on, and a deep mid wicket as well. This feels like a better play. Pace off, defensive fielders out. Let's just reduce the tension of it here, guys. You know?
Let's get a bit of a lull around the ground.
Exactly. And there's a dot, which have been few and far between so far today. Especially off the bat of Marriott, as we have a little discussion between Saskia Hawley and Iba Patel. Maybe a little discussion about a little change up this ball, a little trap to be set. This one's a little bit slower. It's been top edged out towards deep extra cover. Long off comes and does the fielding. I just noticed the skipper, Saskia Hawley, put her hands up on her head, almost as if the plan almost came off there.
Yeah, you do feel Mabel Reid, she's batting nicely. You feel she will be the one to try and keep the momentum going here for the Steelbacks. Perhaps Gemma Marriott, the captain, will just play more of an anchor role here as the field is set back.
I think you're absolutely right there, Hector. One's fuller and wide, driven out to deep cover. Single taken.
The sun piercing the ground for the first time today.
I think a lot of the Brits out there have probably had enough of the sun recently. Oh, it's always a pleasure to see it shining on a cricket pitch. As Marriott finds that long on fielder for a single. Ends the over then, 66 for none at the end of the 7th.
Much better from Middlesex and Anaya Patel making the most of the extra fielders out in the ring and just trying to grapple back some momentum in this game. Northants started blisteringly with Marriott and Reed and just happy to sit back and knock around a few singles in that over, including that boundary to start.
It looks as if Izzy Routledge will continue. A few of the fielding changes. That deep mid-wicket coming slightly squarer, but long on, and still the deep cover and long off fielders out on the rope. This one's short and turn round corner. It's dribbling out towards fine leg. They're going to come back for two here. Northants, bit of hesitation. Is this a chance? Oh, if the throw was better, that could have been out. But I tell you, it's been quite tricky for the wicketkeeper today. There's been a few throws that just landed about a metre in front of her and popped up. That wasn't easy.
Yeah, a bit of indecision there, though, from Reed. She wanted to get back. And in the end, she did so. Gets away with one.
Short again and thumped out towards that short cover fielder. Wonder if this is a bit of a tactic here now, whether short is the play. 4 balls left in this over. Short again and cut out towards point. Is this a chance? The bowler's end this time. Is that out? It is. It's given. And it just looked as if Marriott didn't quite set off imminently. Bit of hesitation at the striker's end. And she's going to be absolutely gutted to be the one to go. She's now gone. And it's a tough little start there now for Gemma Marriott, who was looking really, really good. She falls for 28 from 21. And that is an almighty blow after a brilliant start from Northants.
Absolutely. And we saw a glimpse of it earlier on in the over, a bit of the indecision on the running, but nice bit of fielding. Almost made her ground, did Marriott, but a lovely innings in the end. And she sure has got her team off to a brilliant start. With Mabel Reed there as well, 39 off 24.
I mean, she'll be absolutely gutted because of the number of runs that were out there on offer.
Well, that was exactly the reprieve that Middlesex would have wanted.
Absolutely.
And Saskia Hawley, no doubt, will be marshalling her troops, commanding a bit more impetus now, heading into these middle overs, try and make the most of that opportunity.
So it was Gaia Goal with the run out. And, well, stumped at the non-striker's end by the bowler route. New batter, Amelia Kemp, who's going to start from the non-striker's end. And Izzy Routledge, I imagine this one might be stuck into the surface as well. And single is taken out towards deep cover. Do you think that was a run there, Hector?
Well, short answer, no. No, I don't. But I did like the intent there. As I said, the boundaries were starting to slow up a tiny bit. So, as I mentioned earlier, they were just happy to tick the runs over as the right intent. But in the end, there was a decent bit of work in the field.
It was almost as if the batters thought it was a little bit more of a fumble than it actually was. And Izzy Routledge is starting to stifle this Northants innings. And as you mentioned there, Hector, that wicket really it just hasn't come at a good time for Northants. It's going to be a little bit of a thorn in the start of their innings. One's full and driven nicely out towards long on. Fielded by Anaya Patel out at long on. That ends the 8th over. And it's 70 for 1.
Lovely shot that by Amelia Kemp. She's been brilliant all season. Couldn't quite get going last week against the Rapids, but a 50 earlier on in the season in the County Cup against Hertfordshire and opening the batting in the One Day Cup. She's been exemplary all season. Dan Jads, welcome back. What have you made?
Thanks for having me back. It's been good. It's been an excellent start for the Steelbacks. They, yeah, the run was enterprising, but they're in a position to put those Middlesex fielders under a bit of pressure, aren't they? They've been excellent to start, going at just under 10 and over. Mabel Reed doing some serious damage striking at 160. 40 off just 25 deliveries for the Steelbacks opener. So it's been a very good start. Middlesex, the way they're going to slow this down, Hector, they're going to need to take wickets, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that run out, as we mentioned, it's a bit of a sting there for the Steelbacks as they look set. They look like not much was going to get them out on this wicket today. But got a change of bowling here. Charge into the attack. Left arm all. That's a play and miss to start. Left arm over the wicket. Field spread nice and evenly across the ground.
It's a nice angle, isn't it? Left arm over. Bit of a slingy action as well. Element of Lasith Malinga with the way that kind of front arm, or sorry, the delivery arm kind of comes over as a little bit of a horizontal angle. Going to keep naturally a little bit lower than what you'd expect if you went right over the top.
Inches again shorter this time and helped on its way by Kemp. Beats the fielder at deep square leg, and that'll be her first boundary of the day. Steelbacks keeping going.
Well picked up. Bit of a long hop from Judge. Second ball of the spell. And before, just skidded through nicely. That one just sat in the surface and Kemp almost waiting for it. Camps on the back foot and muscled it through the leg side.
It's a very offside field here. Well, sorry, close in on the offside and room to err on the leg. But you think for Judge here, the play is to keep it nice and full into the wicket. Might land a bit soft, but in she is again. And that one's a bit of a leading edge down to the boundary, but it'll be 4 more for Kemp. A bit of fortune there. It was Fuller and just lent on it and kind of helped it on its way. Beats the fielder at third. 4 more for the Steelbacks.
Yeah, slightly less convincing from the boundary, the ball before. Interestingly, there was a bit of a squeeze on at the start of this over. They just had 3 fielders outside of that 25-yard circle. Middlesex, they've pushed their 4th outside now to give a little bit more protection, but on the pursuit of wickets, trying to put the pressure on the new batter, but unable to do so.
What can Judge do now? She trundles in a bit wider this time. Play and miss. Umpire lets it go.
Good pace. Nice carry through to the keeper. So you got a slightly slingier action. Just give you a little bit of natural variation with how the ball reacts off the surface compared to the other seamers. Just hasn't quite got the accuracy right so far in this over.
To settle into a rhythm here. It's a bit of a breeze here at the Cinch County ground as in comes Judge again wide. And again, another player miss and an appeal for caught behind, but the umpire's finger stays down. That was a nice ball.
Yeah, nice length, nice line. Keeper was convinced. Bowler, I think, joined in later, didn't she, when they completed the follow-through. Wasn't convinced there was an edge on it, and neither was the umpire.
Keeper's job. Pippa Sproul behind the stumps. Just trying to force a bit of momentum here, a bit of impetus for Middlesex, but Judge bounces back nicely after those couple of boundaries, and again wider and not given by the umpire, and that will end the over. Just the 2 boundaries from it, but other than that, a decent start.
Yeah, nice finish to the over. A couple of dot balls, an appeal from the keeper. That last one, a change of pace, which Kemp didn't pick. But you'd still have to say, 8 off the over, you'd have to say it's a good over for the Steelbacks. That momentum just continues to go. 78 for 1 after 9. So at this stage now, with 9 wickets to go, Beth Asker, Ava Clive, Chloe Hill still to go. We saw how dangerous she was in the power play against Kent earlier this year in the 50-over competition. What kind of number are the Steelbacks going to be looking at for their first innings score? And don't forget, they were asked to bat first here by Middlesex as well.
And that's the thing. Runs are certainly there on offer, as we saw 4 dot balls in the last over, but it just takes a couple of missed lengths or missed lines and the ball will race away. So no doubt the Steelbacks will be looking to post a good score here.
Going to be looking 160, 170, I'd say, based on the start and with the wickets in hand.
Another change of bowling. Just opens up nice and straight. Tried to sweep by Mabel Reid. Naya Patel just switching ends. Coming in over the wicket, and that's straighter. And Reed uses her feet nicely, but a good hand on it from Patel. And in the end, they'll just run through for a single.
That's really well stopped, isn't it? Just certainly saving one. Could have saved three there. Just how straight that ball was hit. Would have been a challenge for the two fielders on the boundary to have cut that off.
Yeah, Reed just looked to be gearing up for that one. But now Kemp will have a first go at Patel, and that's pushed nicely out to long off and just saunter through for a single hit.
Yeah, just being a little bit watchful, a bit respectful in these middle overs. They won't do that for very long, though, with 9 wickets left in the hutch. For the Steelbacks, they'll put their foot down again soon.
Oh, and there it is. Reed just plants the foot, has a swing out through the cow corner boundary, and it'll run away for 4.
Yeah, a bit of bottom hand involved for, I think that's Amelia Kemp, isn't it? That's just played that shot down to deep mid-wicket. Just held on the ball long enough to get it down to the boundary.
Patel again just floats this one up above the eye line. Brave bowling, the right decision. Reed will just run through for a single now. He's kept back on strike in the field. He's pretty similar for both batsmen. Flatter and advances, does Kemp. Does she get an edge on it? It does both her and the keeper up, and it will run away down for another 4. Middlesex will feel hard done by there. It's a good piece of bowling from Patel, but the charge down from Kemp there might have put the keeper off.
Yeah, gone down as 4 byes, isn't it? It's a huge chance for Middlesex. Chances that have been few and far between so far in the first half of this first innings. Score now up to 89 for 1 at the halfway stage. And that would have been a huge wicket to have broken a partnership that's already looking dangerous.
So 89 for 1 after 10. Mabel Reed has 46 from just the 29 delivery so far. Kemp 10 had a run of ball. 160, 170 for the Steelbacks.
I think you've got to be looking at that kind of number, haven't you? 9 wickets left in the hutch. Some powerful players to come as well. Cricketers that are very quick between the wickets as well. Beth Ascot in particular. Good runner between the wickets. Good wicket, quick outfield. Got to be looking at 160, 170.
Oh, that's a short ball, but missed out on early on to start the second half of this innings. There's been a change of bowling. Skipper Saskia Hawley back into the attack. And this one's lights up a lot more nice. And that is pushed away for 4 more. And very little can be done to stop Mabel Reed here as she races away to her 50. Just the 31 balls it takes. And that's a fine innings to start the day for the Steelbacks.
Dominant innings. It was a great partnership between herself and the skipper at the top. It was worth 69 before Gemma Marriott was run out. Mabel Reed, though, dominating the Middlesex bowling attack here. 50 off 31. What a start.
And again, flighted up in a similar shot, but wanted the fielder at cover. No run. She's been fantastic. Driving all day long. She's had a variety of shots. Seen her plant that leg and swing through the arc as well.
Got to take the chances, though. There was an opportunity early in the innings, wasn't there?
Oh, and here's the reverse sweep. And just misses the stumps there. As we say, trying to add another shot to the locker. And why not?
Yeah, that kamikaze single to mid-on. She was out by a distance, wasn't she? Had the fielder have hit.
Flatter and driven aerially, but will find long off for no run. For single. Yeah, Middlesex, couple of opportunities have gone missing. Could have drawn this game back slightly more as the skipper in again. And there's the reverse sweep again and bowled. This time it was Amelia Kemp. A little bit fuller, just slips under the bat. And she'll have to depart. played nice anchor innings with Mabel Reid, but that is the end of the day with a bat for her.
Yeah, enterprising shot. Would have been high reward had she connected with it. The two fielders were inside that 25-yard circle and it would have ran away for 4. Maybe not the highest percentage option. There was a huge gap at deep cover, which if you'd have beaten that solitary fielder at cover, you'd have picked up at least 2, maybe 4. But a good innings, a good partnership. I think it's a shot that shows the intent for the Steelbacks here and the score that they want to put together. They're not just resting at 94 for 2. They want to keep going and put on a big score.
Absolutely. Wickets in hand. And with Mabel Reid striking it the way she is, why not have a go? Just slipped underneath the bat and through the legs of Amelia Kemp, though. Nice, as I say, 10 from 11. Good anchor to Reid at the other end. But that will also end the over for the skipper, Saskia Hawley. Good decision to bring herself back into the attack. Steelbacks now 94 for 2. Naya Patel is going to continue.
Interesting partnership in the middle now for the Steelbacks. We've got a bit of power at one end. We've got a bit of lightning fast running at the other with Beth Ascott. One will be looking to find the rope. The other will be looking to find the pockets.
And Reid face up and charges down the wicket, up and over Naya Patel. Is she going to beat the fielder out at long on? No, but she'll run back for 2. Good bit of work in the deep.
That's great work down in front of us, isn't it? 2 fielders converging on it. I thought for a second there was going to be a bit of a collision between the pair of them. Just about got out of jail. They were very, very close to one another, keeping it inside the rope, which is so important.
Nicely done by Abby Wybrow. Anyway, here comes the reverse ramp. The ramp, and again, just a bit of bat on pad, no run. But interesting to see Saskia Hawley here. She's great with communication this over especially. She's had a long chat with Patel to start the over. They've clearly got some sort of plan here to read. That's flighted up and swung and bowled through the gate as a slightly flatter, slightly quicker. And Kemp tried to heave it up and over cow corner, but in the end that brings an end to a fantastic innings by Mabel Reid. 53 off the 37 deliveries, and she has set the Steelbacks well on their way.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? 9 boundaries in that innings of 53 as well for Mabel Reid. Putting the foot down, using the power play, continuing the aggressive role in those middle overs. Ended up striking at around 150, and a big warm round of applause as she crosses the boundary rope back up to the dressing room with her teammates.
Rightly so. Smart bit of bowling from Patel. Just pushed the pace on a little bit quicker. And Reid, as we knew she would, just tried to keep that boundary scoring going. But in the end, it is her end. And it will bring Ava Clive to the crease. Field staying out here for Clive to open up. Interesting call. A couple of boundary riders either side of the wicket. It's up and just turned into the onside, no run.
Yeah, they've got a bit of pressure on, haven't they? They've got one more inside the 25-yard circle than what they have to, which is good to see. Good aggressive captaincy.
Flighted and straighter back to the bowler. Yeah, Hawley has been impressive today in the field. She's kept their spirits high after a tough start for the Middlesex bowlers. Courtesy of Marriott and Reid, but they're well back, right back in this game. 96 for 3, midway through the 12th over.
Yeah, I think it would be fair to say that Middlesex wouldn't be happy with where the Steelbacks are at the moment. I don't think at 12 overs they'll be thrilled at the prospect of this visit, or the home team being on 97 for 3. But scoreboard pressure is massive in this format of cricket. And the question, Charlie Harden, who joins me back in the commentary box, is what kind of number is a number that looks horrible on the scoreboard when you're coming to chase it down in T20 cricket?
I mean, I think 170 would look pretty disgusting. However, this flurry of wickets, this change in momentum has affected, for me, that score which Northampton will be looking at. I'm almost thinking now they'll be looking to be happy to get up to 150. Okay. I think just with those little flurry of wickets, they can get up to there now, and they've just got to keep a little bit of damage limitation for a couple of overs.
Yeah, a couple of overs to be watched for as Izzy Routledge starts from the David Capel end. There should be 2. Finds a nice gap in the deep. Oh, direct hit. They're going to come back for a 3rd. Fantastic throw in. There's not really much you can do about that from that distance. Hits the stumps, but unfortunately allows the Steelbacks to come back for a 3rd and bring up the 100 as well. So 100 up inside the 13th over. 7.5 to go. And 100 on the board.
Yeah, I think they want to be 3 down with 4 overs to go. So maybe if they can get through the next 4, still be in a good position now, have 2 set batters, then they'll be able to go for it. And I think they might be looking to possibly get up to beyond that 160 mark. But I think 150 for Northants right now is a good little mental barrier to get over.
Pressure on as well for Middlesex here. They've got the fielders inside the circle. They've just got 3 on the rope, so they really are trying to put a bit of a squeeze on here and apply the pressure to the Steelbacks. Batters, Ascot on strike, gets to get off the mark. Tries to work it into the leg side, and you can just see, can't you, the rebuild one that the Steelbacks are on at the moment, and also the pressure that Middlesex are applying with the field.
Yeah, it's brilliant captaincy from Saskia Hawley, really trying to stay active, stay aggressive, and she can smell it after a couple of those wickets.
Nicely bowled, nicely played. Ascot gets off the mark. Quick, very quick single taken. I reckon a better throw there, and that would have been a lot closer for Ava Clive than what she'd have wanted. Ascot's underway.
It's those little moments that just add a little bit to the pressure on the batters. And there's a good pick up and throw.
Given. LBW. Ava Clive dismissed by Izzy Routledge for 4. Struck on the pads. The judge to be given LBW for 4. I thought I heard a couple of noises, Charlie, and I'm looking at your facial reaction. I think you might have done as well.
You're currently leading the commentary right now in this stint. And I was about to say bat. I heard a big edge, I'll be honest. But the thing is, I reckon that could also have been pad.
Well,
you never know. And also, the umpire's decision is best.
Absolutely. It's out. It's LBW regardless. 101 for 4 as Clive departs. Alicia Pressland, the next batter. So Chloe Hill just having a bit of a slide down the order, maybe taking a bit more of a finisher's role in the T20 setup here for the Steelbacks, as opposed to that opening role that she found herself in for the 50-over competition at the start of the year. So certainly got power to add, but wickets will slow things down. When you said 150, I thought it was light, if I'm honest.
What do you think now, Dan?
Still think it's on the light side, but I think it's certainly a milestone that you have to get past. You have to get there, don't you? You want to be that 7.5 runs and over kind of score. It's a good over for Routledge. Respectful end to it. 101 for 4.
There's different ways of thinking about it, isn't there? There is, what will Northants be really happy with? They'd be ecstatic with 165 plus. But after the wickets now, we sense a huge change of momentum. Middlesex are on top. They're putting the pedal down. The captain's making active decisions to keep that pressure on. And now 150 is that score which I think Northampton will be happy to have reached. Do I think that's going to be enough against his Middlesex lineup, who won both the semi-final and final of the Tier 2 T20 Blast Finals day by 10 wickets? I don't think so.
It's a score that puts you in the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
150. It's kind of a bit of a middling score that you're neither out of it and certainly not completely past where you want to be. One thing I want you to have a mull over. We've seen wickets fall on the sweep, on the ramp, on the paddle. What do you think about that as an option here at the county ground today? Hasn't been successful. That's nicely worked through the leg side into a big gap. It should be at least 2, maybe 3. Now settle on 2. Talk to me about the sweep. Talk to me about the paddle.
Well, this is quite a typical answer of mine, probably. But it's been a day that has rewarded traditional shots. We've seen drives race away to the boundary. We've seen cut shots sit up and race away. And I think it's been a huge testament to the Middlesex pressure that the batters have been forced to think differently. And so I haven't really answered your question, which is, your question was, what do I think about the sweep today?
I think you kind of have answered it, and I appreciate your answer.
Okay.
It felt to me as a shot that wasn't required on a day like today. Nicely played into another gap. Will just be 1 though. The ball has flown across the outfield. I think particularly for Mabel Reid. Flying along, 53 off 37, 9 fours. So strong, so powerful down the ground. If you're going to try and play that ramp up the hill towards the dugouts, possibly going to get a couple for it. Feels like a high-risk shot for maybe not the highest rewards. On a day like today, with the ball coming onto the bat nicely, Katie Wolf continues from the Lynn Wilson Centre and keep her up to the stumps.
I think you can forgive a batter who comes early to their knot, can't quite get it away and tries a shot like that. I think you can be a little bit more forgiving with that. But you're absolutely right. Mabel Reid had so much success around the ground. You're almost just screaming, just keep playing how you're playing. Keep going. It's working. But again, Middlesex clearly bowled well to make her think like that.
Absolutely right. Squeeze still on by Middlesex. That's a thick outside edge. That's going to fall nicely into a gap for the Steelbacks. Will allow Breslin to get off the mark and come back for 2.
No, but it's an interesting point, Dan, which is just about how the Northants batters set themselves up perfectly. At the halfway stage, 90 for 1. And now at 106 for 4, 4 overs later, they scored about 15 runs and lost 3 wickets. So it's been a huge change in the tide of this game.
Half an appeal. I think that one did have a bit of bat on it. Maybe sliding down the leg side as well, but another good over for Middlesex. 14 now have been bowled in the innings. Score for the Steelbacks is 106 for 4. Crucially, 2 new batters in the middle.
So again, now we're thinking about 6 overs to go. 2 new batters you've mentioned. These 2 have got to give themselves a couple of overs just to set the platform to be able to push in those last 4, because a lot can happen in 6 overs. They need 44 to get over that 150 mark. And it's definitely going to be a challenge, especially with the captain, Saskia Hawley, returning to the bowling. She's going to provide a challenge herself as well.
Starts with a drag down. Hit powerfully straight at the fielder at deep mid-wicket, though. A foot either side of that fielder, and I think that could have been in interest of crossing the boundary rope. How powerfully it was struck by Beth Askett. But it is just one good field placement.
Yeah, also some good work out there from Finn Truster. Just bounced awkwardly out in front of her.
On into the surface. Very quick single taken here. Chance at the bowler's end. Breslin makes a ground. Bit of a fumble from the skipper.
This has been an excellent comeback for Middlesex.
It's been very
Absolutely,
good.
and it's all stemmed from a run out. Those moments that you need something to go your way. Middlesex have taken it.
Nicely played, but can't get it past the fielder at short third. Yeah, it was the run out, wasn't it, of Marriott that just opened the floodgates. User error really from the pair in the middle for the Steelbacks at the time. That's a big reverse sweep, can't connect. Very well bowled once again.
This is the pressure. Sorry, Dan. This is the pressure Middlesex are building here, causing shots to be played.
Yeah, I'm going to just change the field slightly as well. Keeping with the... Oh, they have got the 4 on the rope for this over. With a long on, deep mid-wicket and deep backward square. One smeared really down towards the fielder. Should just be 1 and is.
Smeared. Almost like spreading butter on bread, that shot, wasn't it?
It was. Not a margarine man.
I prefer full-on butter, really.
It's away with that one. Another one outside the off stump. Crashes into the wicketkeeper's pads. Dot ball, end of the over. 15 done, 5 to go. And 109 for 4 on the board. That score, Charlie, of 150. It's starting to look like a very, very likely number, isn't it?
I think you've now got to say Northants are going to have to bat well to get there. You look at their last 5 overs, they've gone for 20 runs. So Middlesex are working out what's working. They're now bringing on one of their star bowlers, Katie Wolf. Now, the fast bowling didn't work perfectly at the start of the innings, which is why they've gone to pace off. But discussions between Katie Wolf and Saskia Hawley now are going to be about how is Wolf going to try and bowl? What are the key areas of this pitch she's going to hit to try and make run scoring as tricky as possible? It looks like they might be setting maybe a little bit of defensive work out at deep backward square as well. Third and deep cover out, mid-wicket too.
Goes with a full toss. Blinked. Ascot went into position very, very quickly. And Wolf certainly blinked there. Ended up bowling a full toss at the Steelbacks middle order batter, and it was just helped on its way over the wicketkeeper for 4. That's going to help that score of 150.
It is. And I don't think that was in the discussions between skipper and bowler there. I don't think that was the plan.
I think Ascot's, that's the kind of cricketer she is. I don't think she's going to pick you up over deep mid-wicket for 4 or 6, but she will use the pace. She'll angle the bat. She'll try and find those pockets, run hard between the wickets. On there, slower ball, good change of pace, well adjusted by Ascot, who drops it into the offside for 1. A bit of a scruffy throw back into the keeper, which is duly apologised for from the Middlesex boundary rider.
It's a good point about Ascot. She tried to that very technical late cut in the last over. Got the third fielder caught. She wasn't caught, but she caught the third fielder. No, that's just the wrong word. She found the third fielder. I'll get to my point eventually.
We're looking forward to hearing it. Slow ball again, off cutter. That's powerful. Muscled straight back past the bowler. There was an attempt to stop it by Katie Wolf. Ending up flying down the ground. And this is the moment then for the Steelbacks that are going to look to accelerate. They've had their rebuild. They've been watchful. Now they're going to try and go for these final 4.5 overs with 6 wickets in the hutch.
I think Northants have got a good pairing on here now. 2 different batters. And Wolf hits a slower ball to Pressland, who capitalises. And I think the slower ball to Ascot actually could be a good play. He's looking to use the pace. So Pressland is going to be a very different style of batter to bowl to Katie Wolf.
Yeah, changing the field again. Fielder goes down to the boundary beneath us here at long on. Deep square comes up inside the circle. And that one is muscled into the leg side. Should just be 1. Very well reacted on the boundary. Made good grounds off the rope early. Keep it down to 1. 119 for 4. Field change stays the same, does it?
I think Middlesex will still be thinking about where they can take a wicket here. Northants just 4 down still.
There's 6 to go, and say Chloe Hill carded to come in next. is going to be wickets that are going to slow the partnership down. Very, very well bowled. Big change of pace, big slow ball out the back of the hands from Katie Wolf. Had that real drop on it, didn't it, as it got to Ascot?
And Ascot is still loving using the pace, which can work, but with the slower deliveries, there's more success to be had in front of square. But it's clearly a real strength of Ascot.
Yeah. Happy to get Preston back on strike. Yorker, good Yorker, into the pads. They're going to steal a leg by, just highlighting the speed at which Ascot covers the 22 yards. 120 up for the Steelbacks at the end of the 16th over. So 4 to go. Over to you, Charlie and Hector.
Thanks, Dan Jazz. Hector Vickers to come in alongside. This pair are riding a bit of a fight back here for Northants. Welcome back, Hector. What's your thoughts on the current situation?
Well, I think Middlesex have been brilliant, led superbly by Saskia Hawley. 3 wickets in 2 overs, really stemmed the flow for Northampton. At one point, we were talking about 160, 170, maybe 180, 68 for North after about 7.5 overs. But since then, Middlesex have done nicely to drag it back.
Yeah, they certainly have. And Hawley has been at the forefront of it.
She's had a great season with bats, with ball and with captaincy in the field. So the players are very happy to get around her, listen to the plans they've set, which by and large have worked quite nicely in these middle overs. It's
been really nice to see the amount of discussion Hawley has had with her bowlers, especially those off the shorter run. She's almost just passed the ball rather than thrown them every time. She's always been in the ring. As this one's clubbed away. Brilliant shot from Pressland, who's been really on the front foot, really aggressive, and she's got a couple to reach the boundary. That's a lovely shot, and it wasn't a terrible start from the new bowler.
No, Layla Judge, she's only had 1 so far today. Went for the 8, couple of boundaries off it, and as we were saying earlier, slightly felt that she couldn't quite find her rhythm. She couldn't quite settle in to a line of length, but coming back in for a second spell here at the back end, and she's going to have to keep it tight here for Middlesex. We'll be looking at that chase with eager eyes if they can keep it under 150.
And I think this is what we're going to see from this pair. Preston's going to be going hard at the ball, and Ascot's going to be playing that perfect counter role to keep rotating, bring Preston back on strike. Here comes Judge again. They should drive up towards long on. They're going to push hard for the first one. These two are pretty quick between the wickets as well.
Again, that just adds a bit of extra pressure. I always feel when 2 batsmen are running well and running with intent, it's a bit of doubt in the mind of the fielders outside. A bit of a fumble on the boundary, but no harm done.
So Layla Judge just looking to get some kind of breakthrough here. Make her figures look a lot better. She hasn't missed her length of line by too much here. She's round the wicket this time. Ascot finds the field, and no single to the Middlesex skipper. And Ascot has been very, very good at rotating so far. Not too many dots have gone our way.
Yeah, that's better from Judge. The wide one is what worked for her in her initial spell against Amelia Kemp earlier on in the day.
Reverse ramp just misses the stumps, my word. Another sign of Ascot trying to use the pace. And there is a fielder out there at deep third. But it looked as if Ascot was trying to go directly over the keeper's head. Just missed it. Wasn't far away from the stumps either.
Well, again, just to reiterate what you were saying earlier to Dan, I don't quite see the need for that shot at this moment in time. The conventional drives and flicks through leg side have been working nicely, but I suppose if it had come off, he'd be saying a wholly different thing.
This time a nice shot out towards deep backward point area, just beating the fielder in the ring. They're going to come back for 2 here off the bat of Ascot. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because now with under 4 overs to go, the pressure has been built, and we're almost approaching the time where Northampton batters are going to have to find boundaries.
Well, I'm looking at Chloe Hill back in the sheds, and She must be raring to go. It'd be exciting to see her come in with a few overs, but absolutely they're going to want to push well past 150 if they can here, because the Middlesex batting lineup is a very powerful one.
Hit straight down the ground. It's going to go out towards long on. Brilliant running from Pressland, who was already looking to come back for second. But that ends the over. And at now 129 for 4 with 3 overs to go. I think that 150 line is very much back on the line here. And it could even be pushing up a little bit higher. Hector, we're going to get your final prediction of the score in terms of what number will Northants be happy with? Not a prediction. What will they be happy with?
Well, I think after their start, they'd have to be happy with 155, ideally 160. But I'm looking at Saskia Hawley and Aya Patel, Izzy Rutledge. They all have overs left in the bank. So anything above 150 they'd take. But I guess he's slightly disappointed after their start. Middlesex would feel the happier of the two sides if it got to that stage.
Yeah, I do feel like Middlesex deserve an extra breakthrough here, as a reverse sweep is shaped up early. It's beaten the fielder at short third, and Ascot gets another boundary through that region. It's a really nice shot. She got in a position really early, almost saying, look, to the bowler, you can bowl it wherever you want to. This is the shot I'm going to play. And it's very easy often for bowlers to bowl very differently when they see the batters shape up in that way. And Ascot has played it really, really nicely past the diving fielder. 133 for 4.
Yeah, we saw her earlier in the innings. She sets her feet early, which, as you say, just adds a little bit of indecision into the bowler's mind. Do they stick with a plan? Do they adjust? But perfect bit of touch there from Askin. Just beat the fielder.
Oh, swing and a miss. The delivery from Aya Patel, bowling wide of the off stump. Look at this, though. I love this from Saskia Hawley. Every time a bowler's coming off a short run, she passes the ball to her, almost offering a few words of encouragement, or maybe a bit of tactical advice as well. Lobbed up by Aya Patel. Has this found the long on fielder? It hasn't. A couple of bounces in front of Katie Wolf. They come back for the second. Preston's running to the danger end, and it's brilliant work. Great running between the wickets, which has been a great factor in the partnership between these two. 135 for 4.
Yeah, this is exactly what the Steelbacks need. It's just that intensity out there between the wickets. 6 from the first half of this over.
Reverse sweep shaped up again, bowled. The off bail has been dislodged, and Aya Patel has got the breakthrough that Middlesex, you've got to say, deserved. It was a good knock from Ascot. She made 21 off 21 deliveries, but it was one reverse sweep too many. She had great success down towards the third region, but Aya Patel has the last laugh. And at 135 for 5, this game very much in the balance with just under 2.5 overs to go.
Extremely well deserved that from Aya Patel. She's bowled well all day. She's been asked to bowl by her captain at difficult phases in the game. And yeah, just one reverse sweep too many from Ascot, but a really nice innings, and one that was almost critical at the time when she came in, when 3 wickets had just fallen in the previous 2 overs.
Yeah, she's been the only batter so far that's had real success behind square. She's been able to use that flat bat shots, use those scoops. She's played a brilliant ramp off the bowling of Katie Wolf. And actually, the way she's manipulated the field, I think, has been better than any other player. Other players were much better at, pumping the ball through the infield. However, Ascot found her way, and she played it very well. Very strong 21, and set up the final couple of overs very well here for Middlesex. And for Northants, sorry. Patel's going to continue for Middlesex. And it's dabbed out towards backward of point, found the gap again. This is really bouncing away towards the boundary. It's going to be retrieved, though, and they're going to come back for a third run. Great running again from Pressland. That is absolutely brilliant from these two. And any new batter that comes in to bat with Preston's going to be running very hard between the wickets.
It's a nice start for the wicket keeper. Nice bit of touch. Just finds the gap, and Pressland continuing where Ascot left off. He had the running shoes on.
Aya Patel. Spelled pretty well for her 2 wickets. Down the track, though, comes Preston. It's gone high. It's going to land safely out in the deep extra cover region. It's gone over the captain's head, and they've come back for 2 runs. Saskia Hawley just kicking the turf there, almost ruining the previous fielding change. But that does end the 18th over. 140 for 5, and Northants are pulling this game back almost to the position where they could have been if they hadn't lost that flurry of wickets.
Middlesex just got to be careful here. 2 overs to go. 140 for 5. Just got to keep it tight. And I think the skipper's going to bring herself back on to take the lead here. Nice start from Hill and Preslin joined together. Hawley just lost that one in the air, the one that went up off Patel's last ball of the over. I think that's where the frustration came from. Thought it was a bit closer to her. In the end, they pick up 2 runs. They've been running nicely all day.
Yeah, good observation there, Hector. I only saw the aftermath, which just looked like she'd rude decision, but no, that sounds much more plausible.
Colour.
She's going to continue. 1 for 19 from her 3. Bowled well so far. Right arm over. Patted straight back to her. Will be no run. And with just 11 balls to go, 10 runs is the 150 mark. A little attempted ramp. Not quite the shot, unfortunately, there for Chloe Hill.
It's the wicket keeper's prerogative to play those kind of shots.
You always think it's going into your face as the keeper. Hawley in again. Sweep his bottom edge. Dribbles up the wicket. Hill will be thinking about these dots, won't she?
Absolutely. You'd imagine it'll be Izzy Rutledge to close out from the other end. So she's been keeping it tight all day, just going up 5 and over. So very nice here from Hawley.
Lobbed up and down the track. So going to be a single up to long on, and Preston will be back on strike. Yeah, Middlesex have, what they've done really well is they've adapted. They saw the first 4 overs. It wasn't the best day for the Pacers. And actually, they've got a versatile enough squad of players here to be able to bowl the spinners, get back on the front foot. This one's off the back foot, though, cut out towards deep cover. They're going to look for 2. They're going to push. Preston's running to the danger end. She's almost given up. No, she's safe. So 143 for 5.
Sonali Patel out there running around from deep cover. Just quick across the wicket, but again, nice bit of running.
And Hawley just reverting to her plans. I mean, she's the only person that doesn't have herself to come up to and discuss tactics with, so it'll all be in her head. Runs in again past the umpire. Cut down into the ground, finds the fielder. Another dot ball. And Preston stays on 17, and with 1 over to go, 143 for 7. That's a very, very good over from Saskia Hawley.
Fantastic over, just a 3 from it, and I really enjoyed how quickly she rattled through it. 3 dot balls to start, and she just wanted to keep that momentum going throughout the over. And another great decision from the skipper. But one thing I will say is that Northants will have the advantage of knowing how to open the bowling. Pace off might be the play for them.
Yeah, one of the benefits of bowling second, isn't it? As long as you read it correctly and you analyse the first innings, actually it gives you a real advantage to come out and bowl and set fields in a certain way. I must also say that it does also provide Middlesex a bit of an advantage in terms of they know how to bat and not to bat on this wicket.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So Izzy Routledge does continue, right arm over, down the track. It's going to be hit out towards it. Deep mid-wicket. They're going to look for 2, but I would urge against it, as there's a potential for a second with a rebound off the stumps, but not taken.
Well, the opener out there doing the fielding. She'll have a big role to play in this chase, Scarlett Hughes.
Izzy Routledge also opened in the first game. Made 26 against Kent. This is swept, but it's struck on the pad and given LBW. And Preston goes to 17, and it's now 144 for 6. And with 4 balls to go, yes, it's a wicket, yes, it's a dot ball, but it is going to build a lot of pressure on the new batter coming in. So it's going to be 4 balls left. And you've got to say to Northants, 150 is the marker.
Good knock from Presland, but Middlesex again from 140 for 5 with 2 overs to go. Now 143.6 with just a few balls left in this innings. It's really ebbed and flowed. Grappling for momentum, both sides. Steelbacks started so nicely. Then Middlesex did well to drag back. And just as I thought Northants had a look at potentially 160 or 155 at least, staring down the barrel of potentially below 150 here.
So Routledge is going to continue. And I don't think they'll be too happy if they do finish below that mark. New batter ramps. Lenny Sims, who gets some runs down towards fine leg, and she's looking for a 2. She's going to get them. Good run in between the wickets. Throw was slightly off target. And it means that Sims will retain the strike with 3 to go. Orley again passing the ball to Routledge. A few words of encouragement. Routledge is in another ramp, this time slightly better connected with, but it's only going to go about 2/3 of the way to the boundary. They're going to come back to 2 again off the bat of Sims. So Middlesex continuing to leak runs in that area, and the new batter Sims isn't doing too bad a job. 2 runs away now from 150.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to do there when those shots are being whipped around by the number 8, Lenny Sims. Start for her. But that field has just been put in there. Short fine.
This is a dot ball. Good delivery from Izzy Routledge. So 1 ball left. And it's one of those things that if you can even get to 149 and set 150 to win, there's a bit of a barrier to get over. Izzy Routledge bowls, slapped out towards mid-wicket. They're going to push for 2. They have to. But no, I think they're going to settle just for the single. And it's good fielding out in the deep, and it's been a real show of the Middlesex innings here in the field. They've really been able to get back a hold of this first innings, and where Northants were in a very tricky position with about 6 or so overs to go, they got themselves up to a brilliant start. They were 89 for 1 at the halfway stage, and a flurry of wickets left them 101 for 4. Then they've rebuilt well. Ascot got a very good 21. Pressland was pretty good for a 17 as well, but you've got to say it was at the top of the order where they were most successful. Gemma Marriott, the skipper, scoring 28 and 53 off 37 for Mabel Reid. You can see the Middlesex players, led by Saskia Hawley, having a team huddle out in the middle. And who do you think, after 149 for 6, will be happier, Hector?
I think Middlesex will be. The most important thing there was 89 for 1 at the halfway mark. We were talking about the 160, 170 point, but they played really smart cricket, stayed in the game, brilliantly captained by Saskia Hawley. Izzy Routledge bowled fantastically, 2 wickets, just the 22 runs from her 4 overs. Saskia Hawley herself bowled nicely, and Naya Patel. A very smart display of cricket, I thought, in terms of bowling to their fields and just trying to stem the runs. Those 3 wickets in 2 overs between the 10th and 12th also played a big part in this innings, but I think Middlesex will be feeling quietly confident about this chase.
Yeah, it was a brilliant innings, really to and fro. Northants on top, then Middlesex back on top, then Northants, and it's at the end, we feel like there's a pretty good balance that first innings. So we're going to take a short break here, and when we're back, Middlesex are going to look to chase down 150 to win. that right? I'll just check with Toby because they were pretty easy on it last time. But with the ground.
Lower down. Tiny bit late. You know.
Welcome back, everybody. Players on their way out to the middle at the Sidge County Ground, Northampton. for the second innings of this Vitality Blast Women's League 2 between the Steelbacks and Middlesex. Middlesex won the toss this afternoon. They elected to have a bowl first, and Steelbacks have set Middlesex exactly 150 to win from their 20 overs. Hector Vickers, what do you reckon? 150 on the board. Is this going to be an easy chase? Is it a par score, or are they over?
Well, I wouldn't say it's going to be an easy chase, but I'd say it's one that is well within the Middlesex remit. It's one thing they haven't done in their opening 2 games of the T20 Blast League 2. They haven't chased yet. Batted first in both occasions against Kent and Leicestershire. But I think they've got the power, and I think they've seen a nice blueprint from the likes of Gemma Marriott and Mabel Reid at the top of the order to know what to do.
Yeah, it was an exceptionally good power play from the Steelbacks. Can Middlesex match it? Opening the batting will be Abby Wybrow. And it will be Scarlett Hughes. And opening the bowling from the David Capel end, Mabel Reid will start with a new ball. 2 fielders outside of that 25-yard circle. One's at deep backward square and the other at deep third. Looks like we are just about ready to get underway. We are indeed. First ball of the run chase coming up. Mabel Reid to bowl it for the Steelbacks. Good pace and into the hip. Dropped into the leg side. Dot ball.
Yeah, nice to cramp Hughes for room early on. Don't give her any width, because with the pace of this outfield, the pace of the wicket, and just the 2 fielders out, anything wide, you'd feel could be a nice, comfortable drive through those gaps in the offside.
Yeah, how important is this power play going to be? Do they have to be on level par at the end of the 6 overs? That's going to get Wybrow away. Runs the first one very hard. Good throw back in to the keeper. Just keeps Middlesex down to 1, so they're underway. The account is open.
Nice bowling from Mabel Reid. She's clearly got a plan there to keep it straight. Might have erred a little bit too far down the leg side, but nonetheless just restricts Hughes from swinging those arms. Gets the single.
We'll take a look at Scarlett Hughes for the first time this afternoon. Left-hand, right-hand combination in the middle for Middlesex, which will be a bonus for the batting team. We'll just give the Steelbacks something extra to think about. Big pushy drive. Fraction of a way swing, I think, from Mabel Reid through to the gloves of Hill.
Very nice from Reid, and the plan is different to Wybrow. You've got a fielder out at deep cover. Clearly going to be bowling outside off, try and play for that edge. Occasionally straightening it up, whereas she's a bit straighter to Hughes on the other side, to the left-handed Hughes.
Just 1 run off the first 3 deliveries, so a good start for the Steelbacks. That should just be 1 as well. Put a bit of bottom edge on it. Straight to the fielder stationed at deep third. So Scarlett Hughes gets her account open as well. Both batters on 1. Over pitch, driven down the ground nicely, but straight at one of those fielders inside the circle. Nice bit of timing by Abby Wybrow.
Yeah, nice and powerful there from Hughes, just leaning on that bat. Timed perfectly, but good piece of fielding.
Changing the field. Deep square comes up, deep point goes down to the boundary. Over pitched and driven over the top this time from Hughes. Nicely timed. Poor way to finish the over for Mabel Reid, but a good one for Middlesex. 6 for no loss after the first over.
Yeah, that's the one that Steelbacks would have been wary of. It's just any room to swing those arms and to get that drive away from Hughes. Just afforded a little bit more room than she had been earlier in that over and punished accordingly. But a good over, good start for both sides, you'd think.
Yeah, pretty even, I think, after the first 6 deliveries. spoilt somewhat for the Steelbacks with that final delivery. Just went over pitched, a bit searchy. Did Mabel Reid, turned it into a bit of a wide half volley, and batter just threw the hands through it and helped it on its way down the ground. It gets Ella Phillips opening the bowling for the Steelbacks from the Lynn Wilson centre end. So two changes of, or a change of thought, change of tactic for the Steelbacks. The new ball was used by the seamers for Middlesex. We're going to get a little bit of off pace in the power play. And the spin did the damage, didn't it, in the first innings? It slowed it all down. It took the wickets. The money, great start.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Phillips. He got two fielders out on the leg side, a deep square and a deep mid wicket. So above the eye line, straight onto leg side. You'd feel will be the line, backed on the offside.
It outside off stump. Batter does manage to reach it, sweep it around the corner for one.
Well shot from Eyebrow. She really had to outstretch those arms to get there in time, but smart cricket.
Yeah, it was fetched, wasn't it, really? But bowled to the plan, playing with the spin, but the protection on the boundary rope, just keeping it down to one.
Saw Phillips warming up this morning, and she was turning the ball a lot on those practice wickets.
Certainly putting some revolutions on the ball. Giving it some nice flight as well, pushing it right up above the eye line of the batters. Just about ready to get underway, just making sure the field is right. Two out on the leg side as it was. Top edge that's going to land safely. Skips off the outfield. Good pick up. Well backed up in the end. Just one.
Yeah, Lenny Sims out there. That deep mid wicket, good bit of work. And these are the crucial times. The power play you really feel is where Middlesex have to make the Steelbacks hurt, as they did to them. 89 for one after the halfway mark. So early runs may be crucial here for Middlesex.
It certainly felt that way, didn't it, in the first innings? Quick single taken, good run, good pick up and a wild throw. Clears the wicketkeeper by probably 10 foot, I reckon, but well backed up by Mabel Reid.
Good chemistry there in the field. And left-hand, right-hand combination. The sun's come out here at the Cinch County Ground. In the fielders, a bit of extra work to do early on.
Nicely bowled, bit of a hack through it to mid-on. Better throw that time. Dot ball, pressure building, I think, here for the Middlesex pair.
You wouldn't be surprised to see Hughes use her power, and that's why the two fielders are out there on the leg side, potentially expecting a bit of a sweep or a slap down their end.
Bit of a drag down and into the thigh pad. Dot ball to finish, a good over. 9 for no loss after 2. Great start for the Steelbacks.
Yeah, they'll be very happy with this. The captain, Gemma Marriott, she would have felt what it was like to bat out there. She had a lot of time out there in the middle, batting first. She's out there for 21 balls, just under half an hour with Mabel Reid. So she'll know how this wicket is playing. And so far, her bowlers have performed exemplary.
It's going to be pace-off, isn't it? Pace-off is going to be the order of the day, or the bit to be successful with here. Need to bowl it well, of course, but you put a lot of pressure on the batters to impart any power and momentum into the ball. Can't use the pace like Marriott and Reid were able to do in the power play. They got off to a flyer, didn't they? 58 for no loss at the end of the power play. Bit of a change of pace, but well bowled, straight to the fielder on the boundary rope. How important do you think this power play is going to be for Middlesex? Do you think they've got to be there or thereabouts at 58 for no loss at the end of it? Or do you think they can give themselves a little bit more time?
Well, I think they've got good depth. They've got a brilliant batting order. The captain, Saskia Hawley, coming in at 4. She's been in the runs this season. I would say they do need to be there or thereabouts, just because, as we saw in that first innings, the Steelbacks started to dry up in the middle overs when you could go to that pace off with the fielders out on the boundary. It's a lot harder to get those runs. You've got to settle for singles and twos. So they'll have to find the boundary more than once.
Change of pace, big edge. Would have been a spectacular catch by Chloe Hill. Just tips it round the post, goalkeeper style in the end. Great effort to get there. Certainly saves 4 runs, or 3 in fact, because they completed the single, but a chance.
Well, Reed is having a fantastic game, that's for sure. She's putting her name in the hat for the player of the match. Very much so far. She bowled with nice pace, nice accuracy, and found a brilliant edge. But as you say, would have been a good catch from Chloe Hill.
Change of pace once again, just runs the fingers down the side of it. Brilliantly bowled to the field, just one. A good throw back into the keeper. Possibly Chloe Hill still thinking about the ball before that.
Always tough though. Looked as if she was kind of almost going the other way and had to adjust. Couldn't quite get there in time.
Good pace once again, beaten for pace, I think would be fair to say. Mabel Reed with her tail up. He said full of confidence. She's having a great day out so far.
Yeah, do you keep her going throughout this power play? This is a second over. Just the 9 runs for no wicket, although she could have had one earlier on. I'd keep her going if I was Gemma Marriott. She's clearly got the wind in her sails.
Wide called that time. Tight. So that painted blue line outside off stump. Plenty of pace there. Rushing the Middlesex opening pair. 13 for no loss. Just 1 delivery left in the 3rd over. Get out of this one without conceding a boundary like she did at the end of the first. You'd say the Steelbacks should be well on top at that point of the power play. Change of pace, powerfully struck and really well fielded by Anisha Patel. Maybe a bit of an unnecessary throw. That could have gone anywhere and spoilt it. But dot ball to finish, 13 for no loss after 3.
Well, the run rate just climbing back up above that 8 mark, 8 and over. This has been the start that the Steelbacks would have dreamed of. No wickets yet. Of course, you've got to think about that. But so far, it's been very tight, courtesy of Mabel Reed.
It's going to be Phillips to continue. Good first over from the Lynn Wilson centre end from the Steelback spinner. Outside off stump, just slides through into the gloves. Been an excellent start. They've bowled very dry. Middlesex have not been able to use the power play so far. The pressure will be building on the pair in the middle. Can't get that one away. 2 dot balls.
Well, the leaders in the blast table. Come back to.
Nicely played, nicely fielded, 3 dot balls in a row. We all know what happens after 3 dot balls in a row in T20 cricket. Something's going to happen. We're going for a risky shot. Is there a chance of a wicket? Flighted up nicely and quite sedately and stylishly turned into the leg side for 1.
Yeah, nice and simple batting. Yeah, league leaders, Glamorgan, 37 for 1 after their 3 overs, chasing 166 against Sussex. Of course, Middlesex slotting in at 2nd here and the Steelbacks in at 3rd. So win today, Steelbacks to go 2 from 2 to start their campaign would be gratefully received.
Nicely bowled. Really nicely bowled by Phillips. It's an attempted sweep. Gets it away, gets 1. So it certainly won't be won or lost in the power play this game, but that scoreboard's going to look like a big number. Big appeal for LBW and Given LBW struck on the pads. The batter not happy with the decision at all. And Wybrow trapped on the crease for 6. The first wicket falls. And a big, big breakthrough and an excellent power play for the Steelbacks continues as Phillips gets the first.
Huge wicket. That for Northants. And you've got to say they've learned a huge amount, haven't they, from the first innings. They've gone pace off early, and Phillips gets the breakthrough. Going to see a new batter out now. Wybrow didn't look too pleased with that decision. However, we're going to skip over it. What do you think, Dan?
You never like to see it, do you, from a batter? You have to take the umpire's word for it. The reaction is not going to help. I suspect that probably gets you a conversation at the end of the match as well.
She didn't look happy, did she?
Given out on the field, I think indicating that there was a bit of bat involved. I thought maybe it might have been outside the line on the angle, but certainly full enough. And Phillips had bowled very nicely.
And the new batter is going to be Finty Trussler. Now, I have played plenty of cricket with Finty Trussler.
Have you?
In my time.
Is this your claim to fame?
One of
Several.
As a commentator, you have to have many claims to fame.
Okay.
Is it claims to fames or claims to fame?
I think so. I think you have multiple claims to the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good commentary. But we're going to see a change of bowling here. Liz Russell will be coming on from the David Capel end. And Finty Trussler will be at the non-strikers. So we'll continue with Hughes to be on strike, who is on 8. And we're going to see a bit of pace on. Phillips has been very successful so far from the end we are at. Running in towards us is Liz Russell. That's a nice drive out towards deep cover. Pushing hard for the first run, but they settle just for 2. You've got to say that that fielding position out there at deep cover is a very good one. Just because of having seen how good a start Northants got off to with the bat. That is a very good reactionary decision.
It's an excellent bit of fielding as well. Covered a lot of ground. Brilliant pickup and a great throw back in. You thought for all money there should have been 2. Keeping the pressure on. Middlesex, they're up against it here.
Drive straight away, just beats the diving point fielder. And it's going to be fielded out in the deep. Finty Trussler coming back for a second run. And it's a good 1-2. So Trussler off the mark with a drive.
Yeah, bit of a fumble in the deep, but wouldn't have stopped the second run, I don't think. So just a reminder, at the end of the power play, Steelbacks were 58 for no loss. I know they've gone on and scored 149. That slowed down when the spin came on and the field went out. Gemma Marriott's going to be able to have 4 out from the end of the 6th over. Potentially won't look to squeeze all that much. That 150 starts to look like a slightly bigger 150 than what it did at the start of the innings.
It's a huge advantage when you are putting a score on the board, batting first. Actually, if you can get on top of the game in the start of the second innings, you can dictate terms. It's going to be very, very tricky for the 2 Middlesex batters after the power play to build up the run rate. Full toss is well nurdled through the gap, backward a point, and it is just trickling away. And I think that's going to just reach the boundary. It does. Finty Trussler has started her innings well. And whilst the 2 opening batters struggle to find their rhythm, Trussler's making it look easy.
Yeah, poor delivery, wasn't it? From the very, very experienced Liz Russell. Certainly a mistake. Don't bowl full tosses outside off stump on purpose. But it's always going to run away down the hill towards the Briggs and Forrester stand here at the Cinch County Ground, and it brings about a change in the field as well. Fielder going down onto the boundary where that very ball's just been.
Yeah, interesting change, because that wide full toss was definitely an error from Russell. I don't know if that's just a reactionary one or a plan. This one's turned to the fielder who's just come inside the ring. So maybe it's a good change. No single. as the fielder is no longer on the boundary. She's in the ring.
Yeah, bowled the right length, didn't she? The line wasn't there. If that was a bit fuller, I think we would have seen that whip through the leg side, but the length was good enough to keep it down to a dot ball. Still been a good start for the Steelbacks.
This one down the leg side and wide given. Yeah, Finty Truster out of a club in Hampshire, down near Winchester, St Cross. So my club, pretty star-studded family, to be honest. Both parents, club legends. And a brother who has the record for the most ducks the club has ever seen.
And that's a good record. Do you think you've got to own that kind of record, haven't you? You have to own the record. Is that have you taken the field with or against Finty Truster in your cricketing past?
Yes. I've got stories for both with and against. Which one do you want, Dan?
Which one's more entertaining, Charlie?
Well, the slightly less entertaining one is that the last time I played with her, Finty came on the team I was playing for, and we were in deep trouble. And she had a chanceless 50, and just hit gaps with power. That was the last time. The first time I played against her was in an under-10 primary school match.
Mm-hmm. Remember it well?
Well, I've been told stories that she got me out. Thanks for bringing that up. Here comes Phillips around the wicket, and it's swept out towards the deep mid-wicket boundary, and it's well fielded. They're going to come back for 2 here. Batting there by Hughes.
You sold me on the claims to fames, and I needed to hear them. And I'm glad I have.
I've got. I mean, I think every commentator has plenty. Do you have a claim to fame, Dan?
A couple.
Have you played with Finty Truster?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
I almost certainly would have been more than qualified to have got me out at under 10s, but
Slog sweep, a little bit aerial, goes out towards deep mid wicket, and it'll just be a single.
Big over this, isn't it, for Middlesex? Long way behind where the Steelbacks were. End of this, though, Gemma Marriott gets that protection, gets the fielders out on the rope.
Yeah, she can really play to that now. With Middlesex well behind the rate. Big gap out, backward square on the offside. No fielder between the keeper and backward point. But that's the benefit when you pace off, and Phillips is bowling a good speed on this wicket. Now, all fielders are up inside the ring on the offside. 2 fielders out on the leg. Here comes Phillips again. Right arm over to Finty Truster, who thumps it up towards mid-off for no run. Single taken, actually. How on earth I missed a single?
You mentioned the chanceless innings that Finty Truster played the last time that you shared a cricket field. Middlesex need one of those.
Yes.
They need that innings.
I was really worried there for a minute, Dan, as Phillips is round the wicket to Hughes, who hits it out towards deep square leg. They're just going to have a single. Northants doing well to prevent the second run. I thought when you started like that, I thought you were going to bring up a story from the past, that you'd found the game where Finty Truster scored a 50, and actually I got a duck.
I hadn't, no. I hadn't.
I was really worried. Phillips continues, 2 balls left in her over. Short, pulled away, in the air. Nice shot there from Finty. It's going out towards her teammates out in the dugout. It's helped it on its way. First real sign of loose width from Phillips has been tucked into. Truster moves to 11. It's 32 for 1.
Real drag down, wasn't it? Untidy delivery from Phillips, who's been excellent in the power play. Rightfully punished. Could almost hit that wherever you wanted to. Raced all the way for 4.
Driven up towards mid-on, no run taken. Yeah, these Middlesex batters at the end of the power play, 32 for 1. They're remaining intent. They really are. And that you feel they have to be, because when boundaries aren't flowing at moments like this, they have to find runs wherever else they can. And Middlesex are doing well to do that so far. So Hughes on 13 off 15, Truster on 11 off 8. And they're not in a bad position. Okay, they're really not in a bad position. 150 is the score required. They're going at just above 5 runs and over. So they are going to need to tick up, but at the same time, you just want two batters to get settled, get into their rhythm, and runs will come.
Yeah, spend some time in the middle. The pitch is good. The outfield is quick. Steelbacks have earned the right here to put the fielders out onto the rope, and they've started, as you'd expect, with 4 on the boundary straight away. It was 7.5 runs required at the start of the innings. It's ticked up to 8.5 now. They've got a bit more spin up their sleeve as well, which was dangerous in the first innings.
Yeah, and Northants have already used it well. As Russell continues her spell, she's round the wicket. It's a nice shot out towards Cow Corner. It's bouncing awkwardly in front of the long on field. They're coming back for 2. Finty Trusser running to the danger end, and it's a good piece of running in the end as the bails aren't taken off, but Trusser is... She survives. 34 for 1.
Yeah, good run. Big pocket, isn't it, down towards the dugouts here at Cinch County Grounds. It's a unique shaped venue, isn't it? Cinch County Ground, with the pockets that it has in the corners. Slightly more uniform today with the fact that the rope on the offside is in off the boundary, but do you really have to concentrate on where your fielders are and your angles when you're playing to the full real estate?
Good piece of work there from Northants. Brought about a cheer of encouragement. Russell bowls another good length and continues to stem the flow of runs. And Middlesex just struggling to join up the boundaries, struggling to build up a little spell of momentum. And Northants are stifling it well. This one's top edge. She's gone for the big shot, and it's been caught at forward of point. You've got to say, it's a brilliant spell of bowling from Northants. They built up the pressure, and more importantly, they just kept the pressure on. And Hughes has gone for the big shot, and she's top edged it out towards forward of point. Good catch in the end, taken by Patel. And now at 34 for 2, Middlesex are in big trouble.
Yeah, it felt like something had to give, didn't it? Scored 15, had faced 19 deliveries to score those 15. Good catch, I think would be fair to say. Judged it really nicely. Decided to stay kind of front on to the ball and keep it in the eye line rather than turning. One of those awkward distance ones, wasn't it? Where you just have to take a couple of steps backwards rather than definitively knowing whether you're standing your ground or turning to take that catch over the shoulder. Big wicket, 2 down for 34.
Yeah, they're ones that can just spill. They can jump out of the hands when you're tracking back. You might just slightly lose your footing, or you just might not quite judge it right when you're running backwards and looking almost back over your shoulder. But she's able to stay front onto the ball and catch it well above her eyes. So Ms. Russell's now going to come over the wicket. It's Anisha Patel with the catch. Also got Anaya Patel and Sonali Patel on the Middlesex side. As Russell is in again. And it's turned back towards the bowler from the Middlesex skipper. And it wasn't much of a run-out chance, but the bowler still elected to throw the stumps down and did so successfully, adding to the pressure, adding to the intensity. And the Northants fielders know it. They know that they're on top. You can hear it in the field. And at 34 for 2, they're just trying to stamp the authority in the game and stay on top.
Yeah, they are well on top at the moment. It's going to take a Mabel Reid style innings here to get Middlesex back in this contest, I feel.
Going to push for 2 again here, I think. No, settle for 1. More good work from the Northants fielders. I think something we saw so much of at the end of the Northants innings was especially when Ascot and Preston were batting together, how determined they were to make 2s. They knew at times finding the boundary wasn't going to be easy towards the end of the run chase, and they were turning those 1s into 2s, and we'll see if the Middlesex batters can do that here. Here's Russell again. And Trusser plays a nice late cut. Tiny bit aerial, but well in the gap, and that's going to run away for 4. And she moves to 15. And she started her innings well. Whilst the Middlesex side has slightly crumbled around her. But 39 for 2. And Middlesex, you still got to say, are very much in this game. After 7 overs. Not in the best position, but they can win it from here.
Yeah, guided that shot nicely, using the pace on offer, dissected those two fielders. I think probably got enough area, enough of an angle on it to get it over them anyway. But the angle of it was perfect. Going to get a bit more spin, as you'd come to expect.
Indeed we are. I think we've got Sims on now to the bowling. And as we said, we did talk about the various advantages from batting first, bowling first in the first innings. And Northampton have taken full advantage of what they've learned from what Middlesex did well in the field. And I wonder now, looking back, because where Middlesex really made it wasn't even a mistake because they had no information to go off, but they had to start with pace because that's what they thought was correct. And they got punished. And then they adapted while they got back in the game. But Northampton have been able to stay on top from the start. Here comes Sims. Right arm over, bit of leg spin. Clubbed up towards. Long off just for a single. No, Truss is going to come back. They get 2. Is a little bit of a miss. Oh, no, it's 4. It's gone straight through the fielder. That is unfortunate, but it's good for Middlesex because they need it.
Yeah, it's one of those moments, isn't it, that potentially just changes the momentum slightly. Be a disappointing start for the bowler there. Wasn't the greatest delivery she'll ever bowl, but you would have expected that to have been cut off and kept inside the rope for 2. 43 now on the board.
Cut away nicely, but straight to the fielder. A bit of a fumble. Yeah, a little bit of something building here, Dan. You're absolutely right about the kind of switch up in the game that kind of misfield can cause. And yes, the noise is still out there from the Northants fielders, but you do really get the sense of that has had a little bit of an impact. How they're feeling out there. Here's Sims again. There's a play and a miss. Good delivery, good pace, just lobbing it up above the eye line.
Yeah, I think Sims has just started a fraction short. See the batter just camping on the back foot, playing it late.
On the front foot this time from Truss, that timed nicely out towards deep cover. Good diving stop. They're going to come back for a second run, and they're going to get back safely. Yeah, it's one of those problems, isn't it, Dan? Where the slower bowlers, it can be a bit daunting to lob it up and get it up there full.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say to that is I think that's where your reward's going to be. The braver you are, the fuller you're prepared to bowl it. With the protection down the ground, there's another one back of a length, just dropped into the surface. And as you can see, the natural power, the body movement you can apply on that, rather than if you're trying to play that off the front foot, maybe not getting all of it.
A really interesting one, because you get some players that are really strong coming down the pitch. And I think that's what maybe Sims would be scared of, but dropping it short is also getting punished. That one's hit up towards long on. They're going to get a single. I'd also argue, I think you could probably defend the short pitch bowling slightly easier. They've got all their fielders out in front of square that are deep. And I'm not sure if I fully believe in my point of discussion yet. But now I've just found that when the batters have gone back, they face the short balls, actually, they have managed to find the deep fielders. Thanks, Dan. I'm going to pass over to Charlie Harden and Hector Vickers. When I say pass, I've just passed over to myself there. Hi, Hector.
Good start. Great start.
Thanks. Thought I'd just drop you in it. You know, peak commentary.
Oh, yeah. Northampton have been absolutely brilliant so far, I dare say. But Saskia Hawley, she's been exceptional all season with the bat. Nice 70 against Kent and a 96, I believe, against Hertfordshire earlier on in the T20 Cup. So while she's there, while Finty Trussler's there, not out of this yet.
And it looks as if we're going to have Anisha Patel take a good catch running back. Then now it's pulled away to short fine leg. Finty Truster wants to run. She's going to have to get back for it, but it's an awkward throw and it hasn't been received by the non-striking end fielder, which is the bowler Anisha Patel. And that's a gutting one to miss because Finty Truster was struggling.
Chaotic start there. It was Ella Phillips actually. That short fine leg that put the throw in. A little bit wayward.
This one's fall down the leg side, swept, not quite got hold of, goes to short fine leg for no run.
Yeah, you can see what Patel's trying to do with the two fielders out there on the deep, just above the eye line, straight down leg stump. There's also a fielder at long on, I should say.
Patel bowls full. It's a good delivery. Whipped out towards deep square leg. Another sign of these slower bowlers looking to lob it up and bowl full, which actually, in agreeing with Dan now, that probably looks the better strategy than to drop it short, I think. But we saw a lot of full balls go smashed away to the boundary in the first innings. Patel bowls short and worked at short fine leg for no run.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dan as well. Above the eye line is nice, and especially with the pace off that we've seen so far this innings, it's been effective. Just trying to entice Trussler and Hawley into playing a big shot here.
Sweep shot from Trussler, well played, but again, straight to the fielder. And now the Northants fielders are back on it. They're back up. You get the sense of a little bit more, what's the word, Hector? They're on top of the game, aren't they?
Electricity in the field.
Yes.
They're getting around each other. Yeah.
We're a thesaurus up here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Patel spinning the ball from right to left. Runs in, lobs it up. And again to that same fielder. That's going to frustrate Finty Trussler. There's been a few deliveries she might have been able to get away. And she's found that fielder each time. You can see she's a little bit frustrated with that one. She's got to stay in there. She's going to be a crucial part of this Middlesex chase. 49 for 2.
Yeah, good start from Patel, just the one from it. Arguably, she was flirting with that low full toss all throughout that over, but I like to see that in the spin bowlers. Brave, just getting it up there. And yeah, it was a low full toss to end the over to Trussler, who, as you say, Charlie, she would have felt she could have made a bit more of that over, but just put it down to good field placement, good bowling all round from the Steelbacks.
Yeah, those can be a little bit tricky to play. I think it was quite close to Yorker length, that last one. So it wouldn't have been the easiest to have work around, but I think she'll know she wanted to have got that away. Anyway, Hawley's going to take strike from the David Capel side of the ground, and Sims is going to continue. Lobs it up full, and Hawley goes back and cuts for no run.
Very tight field placement, actually, at point and backward point, especially two fielders standing next to each other, but finds one of them straight away.
Sims is in. On short, turned up towards long on. They're going to push hard here. And they're going to settle just for one. More brilliant fielding from the Northants. Deep fielders. Just on your point about point and backward point. One of my things in the game of cricket is that with a spin bowler, those two fielders have to be so close. No balls allowed in between them.
Okay. For the sweep, for the reverse sweep?
No, for the cut. And I almost prefer it, actually. I'll come back to after this ball as Sims is in. It's left outside the off stump, wide given. I like it when point is a couple of steps in from the ring and backward point is right on the ring, because sometimes you can get the cut shots that come with spin. Nice drive from Trussler, but well fielded as well at cover. But when the cut comes off with spin, it's actually going to spin on the left, towards the left side of point, almost through the gap. So when you have point that's a couple of yards in, it almost makes the gap for the one that just spins a little bit even smaller as well. But they've done well in that area. As Hawley is down the track and hits it up towards long on for a single.
Yeah, I like your thinking there. And I like the thinking of Gemma Marriott so far. Anish Patel and Lenny Sims were the two most economical bowlers last week against the Rapids. Just bringing them on here to put the squeeze on Middlesex even more. And they've done just that so far.
Outside edge off the bat of Trusters, dribbling down towards the third boundary. It's not going to go for 4, but they're going to come back for 2. It's a comfortable 2 in the end as Middlesex move to 55 for 2. We're approaching the halfway mark, and just to give you a little bit of clarity in the game situation, at this current point, Northants were 89 for 1. And Middlesex at 55 for 2. Very, very different outlook, and they've got a lot of work to do. Is driven up towards long off, and more good fielding there from Anisha Patel. And that ends the first 10. And Middlesex 56 for 2. They're using their slow bowl as well, and it's hard to time. And Northants are on top.
Yeah, Middlesex 33 runs behind that rate, and also another wicket down. But at this point in the Steelbacks innings, they were just about to reach that stage where runs started to dry up and wickets started to fall between that 10th and 12th over. So Middlesex, if they can put the onus back on the bowler in these next couple of overs, they can draw back to parity, but the ideal start for Steelbacks.
So it looks like we're going to have the same bowler. These two bowling well in tandem. Continuing that great start you mentioned, the second innings. Got a deep fielder on the cover boundary. And deep fielders out at long on, mid-wicket and square leg as well. Finty Trust is scanning the field. Where's she going to find her boundary? Middlesex need boundaries. They need them soon. Here comes Patel. Back goes Trustford, and she's just got a fine edge on it, I think. It's going out towards the boundary at fine leg. A good piece of fielding in the end. And that fielder is Ella Phillips down there who does the work, and it's 2 runs added to Trustler's score.
Phillips is in quite a frustrating position for Trustler, as we see there. She just can't quite get those balls down leg away because of Phillips in its short fine leg.
Patel's in. Trustler defends. Box out a good ball. Where are the runs going to come here, Hector? What areas of the ground would you be looking at? Sweep. Nice shot. Beats the fielder that she's been hitting so regularly, and she finds the boundary, does Finty Trustler. And that was well timed. And she's been hammering away at that fielder, Ella Phillips. And now she's beaten the left side of it. And I think that could be the boundary just to get a bit of a roll on here for Middlesex.
Lovely shot. Yeah, just helping the ball on its way. I was actually about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Trustler tried to move her feet, give herself a bit of room on the leg side to open up the offside. Just the one fielder out to keep cover, but she played the smart cricket there in the end. Got 4 for it.
This one's a late cut, just around the outside half of the bat, running down towards the boundary again. It's good fielding, so it'll just be 2. Good work down there from Amelia Kemp. You know, I thought after she just hit a sweep shot, you were going to say, you know, I was just about to say, all she's got to do is pull out the sweep shot.
You've got to be honest in this game. Honesty is key.
You know, every now and again you can drop in a little bit of something. It would have sounded good, Hector.
Yeah. She'll move her feet on this ball. Down the wicket.
Well, she goes back. And Trustler hits a nice pull shot out towards deep mid-wicket. Yeah, it didn't quite work there, Hector.
No, I had a good start in the first innings. You cast your mind back.
You should have just left it like that. You should have left it.
Nothing more needs to be said.
So Hawley back on strike on 10. Middlesex just trying to cling on to this game. Down the track this time. And well fielded by Anisha Patel. And fielders are on it inside the ring. And you get the sense Northants are so well and truly on top of this one that they're just not letting it go. Middlesex having to work really hard. They're still only 2 down. They've got 2 relatively set batters. They need a little spell, a little flurry of runs. They need a good over. They need an over that goes for 15 or so, I reckon.
Yeah, they're not in from that over of Patel. Welcome runs for Middlesex, but as you say, they just need that big one. They need a few boundaries. They'll be praying for a bit of pace on the ball, you'd think, but it's unlikely to come, as Lenny Sims will continue. Pretty spread field. It is hard to see where the runs are going to come at this rate. There is just a bit of a lull around the ground. Steelbacks happy just to keep drifting that ball above the eye line, tempting a shot, and Middlesex just so far haven't really taken it on, you'd feel. Just keeping the wickets in hand for the back end of this innings.
So here comes Sims then. Trustler pushes up towards mid-off. Chance for a run out. They're going to go to the keeper's end, and Morley gets home safely. Do you think if Northants do go on to win this game, it's majority mainly down to the toss? Obviously, they've still got to play well to get there, but this finds the fielder.
Yeah, I think it was hard to know what to do. I remember you came in this morning, it's pretty green wicket, but as we found out pretty early on, the ball was coming on nice and quick. Maybe Middlesex were scarred by batting first last week at Lords against Leicestershire. But I'd say the openers for Steelbacks might have just won them the game.
Cut shot out towards deep cover will just be a single. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Hector. That opening stint, looking back on it now, is the main difference. And I know we shouldn't talk about as if the game is over. Northants are on top of the game. This is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
And you never know. We could see a partnership from these two, which is similar to the like of what Mabel Reid and Gemma Marriott were able to do first thing today. Juster finds the long on fielder for another single, which has moved to a pretty fluid 33.
Yeah, it was very impressive, and it slightly caught Middlesex by surprise. It took them a while to realise what was happening and adapt and adjust and take the pace off the ball, but the damage was sort of done in that power play. 59 for Norton, getting to 89 for one at the halfway mark. But when Middlesex did adjust, I think they performed admirably, especially in that second half of the first innings.
Down the track comes Hawley. She gets it on the full. It's been hit out over the bowler's head. And it's going to be fielded behind the bowler's arm. And I think, is that just a single? It is.
Missed opportunity there, you feel. Slightly, the low full toss, I'm a big advocate for. I think it's a tough ball to face, actually.
Is that from your own experience?
Well, yeah, the drag down to the low full toss get my wicket.
As Sims is in and Truster defends. That ends the over. It's 69 for 2. Truster's played well for her 33. And with 12 overs gone, there's a lot for Middlesex to do.
Yeah, another tough over for Middlesex. You feel they've got to force their hand soon, just a 4 from it. And the runs are drying up. But it doesn't look as if they're trying to exert themselves too much, does it, Dan?
Not so far. They obviously back this middle order that they've got, but they're certainly backloading this innings, aren't they? 8 overs to go. They require just over 10 runs on over now if they're to be successful here at the Cinch County grounds. And that, Hector, feels like a big ask.
It does indeed. And it looks as if we're going to have a bit of pace on here, which Middlesex will like the look of. Mabel Reid coming back into the attack. She bowled 3 overs earlier on in her innings, 2 overs, excuse me, for just the 5 runs. She was unlucky not to get a wicket, found an edge early on, but she kept it very tight and got very close. Kind of felt she could have had a couple in that first spell.
Yeah, it was excellent, wasn't it? Tale of 2, really. The Middlesex seamers were loose. They were wayward. Mabel Reid, as you would expect, full of confidence, was charging in down the hill from the David Capel end and started brilliantly, and she's back. Starts with a big slower ball. Big off cutter to start. Middlesex will just take, it's sloppy from the wicketkeeper and the fielder. It wasn't the greatest throw. It should have been stopped. And it's going to run all the way to the rope for 4 buzzers. So 5 for Middlesex. That will certainly help trying to go at 10s.
That's a shame there. And maybe Reid, she won't be happy with that because that will go down into her scorecard. She's had a great day so far. It was a good start. But again, Middlesex are really going to have to force their hand now. Pace is on. You feel they've got to go after Reed, no matter how well she's played today.
Yeah, would be the over to target, wouldn't it? That bit of momentum behind the ball. 2 overs, just gone for 10 before the start of this one. They got a lot of spin left, though, the Steelbacks. Good response. Big response from Mabel Reed. Dot ball.
Good bit of pace there into the wicket. We tend to see the ones slightly shorter today find their way to the boundary, but it was a nice line and slightly cramped Trussler for room there. But Trussler's been batting nicely, 33 from 27, thanks to that earlier solid start.
Half an appeal, but sliding down the leg side. Another dot ball, back-to-back dot balls. Going at 10s is a tough ask for anybody, isn't it? And for such a long period as well, for 10 overs to go at 10s.
Yeah, they've got to be pretty relentless here. Middlesex can bat deep, but you asked the question why they didn't look to get a bit more aggressive earlier on in their innings.
I don't think they were permitted the option. That's pulled away. That's going to be well stopped. Brilliant tumbling stop in the deep. Saves 2. Well run for the Middlesex pair.
Ava Clive out there. She's had a couple of those nice diving stops in the on the onside boundary.
She's been very good, setting a very high standard for herself and her teammates.
It's also been a difference so far. Middlesex let a couple of run-outs go in their fielding innings. Northants have been on it today.
Down the ground, down. Hit very hard, should have been taken. Burst into the hands. Fell straight to the floor. Is it the skipper at mid-off? Maybe a big chance. Trussler on 35 gets a life.
You do feel for Reed, you really do. That 5 to start the over, the drop catch from Chloe Hill in her first spell, and the drop there, it was straight to the fielder, but as you say, hit hard, flew through the hands, really.
Change of pace, off cutter, nicely played, beats the tumbling Gemma Marriott, 4 runs, nice shot, well gapped, and a good over for Middlesex, an expensive one for the Steelbacks. That's exactly what the visitors are going to need.
Well, always likely to happen. After a drop comes a boundary, and Trussler made sure to convert there. She's been batting really nicely today, as Charlie warned us she would. But Hawley as well, the captain, she's in fine form this season. If there are 2 batsmen that Middlesex would want out there at the moment, it is Trussler and Hawley. And need 70 runs now to get the win with 7 overs. So 10 and over for Middlesex, which is doable. But as we say, it's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's that over that we've just had for another 7, isn't it? To get up to the score. Entirely possible in T20 cricket. Feels like it's going to be very challenging this afternoon here at the Cinch County Ground. It's going to be Lenny Sims to continue. 20 runs conceded from the 3 overs that she's bowled. So this is her last. Fielder's on the rope, as you'd expect. All in front of square. That's really flighted up full. 1 taken.
Yeah, those are the frustrating ones. The ones above the eye line tend to tempt you in, but Middlesex haven't quite fallen for that yet.
I think the fuller that you're prepared to bowl it here, the reward you're going to get from the spinners. That's, again, very flighted. Nicely struck down the grounds. Oh, it's well fielded. Liz Russell just cuts it off in front of the rope. But it's a relatively big playing surface today here at the Cinch County Grounds. And if you're going to get your reward, you're going to have to pitch it up. The power necessarily isn't going to be there to go down the grounds. Comfortable off the back foot. Get it up above the eyes. Nicely bowled, nicely played, well fielded.
Have to know the dimensions of these boundaries. It is a big ground, and as you say, that ball before was pure timing, almost deserved a boundary, but a great bit of work from Northants in the outfield, as we've become accustomed to today.
Fortune, bit of creativity. Outside edge past the keeper. I think that there highlights what we were just talking about. Go full, there isn't the pace to use to get to that boundary.
And the field feels rather impenetrable in front of the bat. Nice spread is just going to stop, catch any boundaries from falling, but a couple of runs, no harm done by Middlesex there.
A bit of a full toss. Confusion, indecision from the batters. Dot ball for the Steelbacks. So I think like it's despite that previous over go for 11 or 12, that run rate's climbed from 10.1 to 10.5.
Need a boundary from this, just 5 from the over. And as we said, they need to keep their foot down, and it'll be Trussler.
Advances, shuffles down, bit of bottom hand whip, just the single. Excellent over, excellent way to finish the spell for Lenny Sims, conceding 26 from the 4 overs. And the score with 6 to go is 86 for 2. Trussler on 44, Hawley on 18.
Well, one thing we can say is Middlesex have wickets in hand, just the 6 overs to go, 8 wickets. Gayatri Cole with an unbeaten 50 last weekend against Leicestershire, albeit off 55 balls, became the 51, but she's in form. We've also got Izzy Rutledge, most possibly coming in next at number 5. So these two, we've been saying it for a while now, but they do need to up the ante. They can't rely on overthrows for the rest of this innings.
Yeah, it feels like Trussler is going to be the more likely, the way that she's been striking the ball. 5 boundaries in the innings of 43. Strike rate of 122, but that's going to have to climb, isn't it? That's going to have to be north of 150 now for the remainder of the innings. Required runs per over is 10.7 now. DLS won't come into play. We're not going to get weather affected, but it's always a good measure to see where you are in a run chase regardless. Seam on again. Full toss, nicely played. It's going to be 4, isn't it? Gapped perfectly between those two on the boundary row. A loose one from Russell and put away nicely.
Beautiful shot from Finty Trussler. Pierced the gap perfectly there. It was had to be about 3 fielders out into that long boundary, but timed perfectly. It was a lovely drive. She's creeping ever closer to 50 now.
Yeah, up on 48 now. Russell needs to respond. That one drifts down the leg side. It's going to have to reload. 5 off the first ball for Middlesex.
Yeah, they're going to want to keep this going. This could be the big over that they've been dreaming of for a while now. Trussler 48 off 37. Hawley 18 at just over a runnable. 17 deliveries. Russell, she's got the wicket already, but she might be under the pump in the 3rd over.
Good response. So a little indication for a second. Settling on 1. Trussler moves to 49. The response from Liz Russell.
Yeah, just going at around just under 9 and over. There's Russell. She is the bowler to target from the Middlesex point of view. Nisha Patel has 2 to come. Phillips 1 and Reed 1 as well. So she's going to have to bowl out here, you'd think.
Hawley at the moment happy to play second fiddle, get Trussler back on strike. Yeah, I don't know whether the Steelbacks, I think Gemma Marriott would be a bowling option herself if she wanted to go for a bit of flexibility when it comes to the back end of this innings. Would be pace on though, which hasn't really been the recipe of the day so far in this T20 fixture, unless your name's Mabel Reid, of course, who has been exceptionally high class today. Up in the air, does it carry? It does. Bit of confusion maybe from the fielder at cover. Ends up saving 3. chance goes down. Just don't think Anisha Patel read that. And I think to add insult to injury, I think she's hurt herself as well.
Yeah, we spoke about the fielding along the ground being to perfection, but a few drops, excuse me, 3 drops. But that also brings up the 50 for Finty Trussler, 50 off 39 balls. Got away with one there, but other than that, it's been a fantastic innings. A pleasure to watch.
Yep, exceptionally high class. 50 off 39 deliveries, 6 boundaries in the innings. Middlesex are going to get close. I think Finty Trussler is going to have to be not out at the end of this innings.
Slightly worried about that potential niggle to Patel. She's still got 2 overs to come, so that will provide a bit of a headache to the captain, Gemma Marriott. Maybe she will have to fill in for those overs, as you say, pace on.
Down the ground, should be cut off. Just be one. It ends. Get to the final ball of the over. Trussler back on strike. It's just a case for the Steelbacks of stopping the boundary, isn't it? 1s and 2s don't really affect the game that much at the moment. Can they just keep the ball in the field of play? Nicely played down the ground. Beats a diving fielder. It's another boundary. Glorious cricket shot by Finty Trussler. Another boundary, her 7th. Another expensive one for Liz Russell.
Had to happen. Really did had to happen. Liz Russell wasn't too happy with the effort out there, but at the end of the day, again, the gap was perfectly placed. Brilliant timing from Trussler, and you'd start to feel, although the Steelbacks are well in control of this game, you start to feel a bit of a mood change here, potentially, after a good couple of overs.
You do. I mentioned DLS a short while ago. DLS at this current stage would be 104. And Middlesex are 99 for 2. So not very far behind it at all. It's been a good recovery after a pretty slow power play. We are going to have a look at the captain. Gemma Marriott is going to bowl from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Maybe 1 or 2 overs. Just give herself that bit of extra flexibility. Maybe that, just say that slight bit of cramp or injury for Anisha Patel would be a shame for Northamptonshire. Just getting the field ready. So looking at this, don't think you're going to get much pitched up from Gemma Marriott. Fielders in front of square. On that, well, we're back to where we were. There is a fielder on the rope in front of square at long on. Fielder moves to short third. 3 on the leg side on the rope, 1 covering the offside. So it should be back of a length into the pocket. Powerful down the ground. No one stopping that one. That's going to be 4. Expensive start. Momentum swinging in the favour of Middlesex. 100 up.
It's the thing with T20 cricket. It only takes 1 or 2 good overs. Middlesex still slightly behind, but you just feel that they're still in this game. Trussler and Hawley have been out there for a long time. They've been batting well, largely unchallenged, barring those few drops that Northants might be left to rue. Hawley getting in on the action after watching Trussler at the other end, and tough start for the Steelback skipper.
It's the drop catches at the moment, isn't it? They're the ones that's really hurting the Steelbacks here. Expensive drops, big drops as well. That's going to fall safely. Should be cut off, and is. But Middlesex will come back for a second.
Yeah, long boundary out there. Lenny Sims comes in, does the fielding. Interesting short mid-wicket-ish out there for the Steelbacks. He just moved back, actually. She's in there for Hawley to start the over. Just try, maybe pitch it up for Marriott, but she's gone back now.
Nicely timed, nicely fielded by Anisha Patel. Showing no ill effect to the drop catch in the over before. That one goes into the hands cleanly. Nicely stopped, nicely timed by Hawley, who's moved on to 26. This is the risk, isn't it? A bit of pace on for Gemma Marriott. Comes off the pitch nicely, hits the middle of the bat well. Flick through mid-wicket. Just be one. Timed too well to the fielder with a bit of a fumble on the rope. Just one.
Placement is so key here, you feel. Both batsmen are timing it really nicely. They've certainly got their eye, and it's just the matter of with these long boundaries, they've got to be so accurate with where they put the ball in that field. Found the fielder on the last one, but all the hallmarks of a nice shot.
Yeah, nicely timed once again. I feel the pair in the middle are just starting to get to grips with the surface here at the Cinch County grounds. That one cut away, taken. Good catch. Finty Trussler can't believe it. She could not have found that fielder at backward point any better if she'd have tried. It flew off the bat, but straight into the hands. Big, big wicket. Trussler goes for 54, 106 for 3.
Special innings, but you can see how frustrated Trussler is as she's walking off, looking pretty dejected. But what an innings that was, and she's put the Middlesex women's side into a position here where they could potentially force a bit of a scare for the Steelbacks here. But as you say, just found that fielder was timed so nicely, the pace on, but Gemma Marriott, she'll be happy with that bowling change to bring herself back on. She's on because she's got the breakthrough.
Yeah, wasn't the greatest delivery of all time, was it?
No.
A bit of a long hop outside off stump, carved away. And after a couple of drop catches from the Steelbacks in recent history, that one should have just settled some of the nerves down. A very, very sharp catch. Good piece of work.
Phillips there. That's a big catch, not only for the wicket of Trussler, but also just for the momentum for the Steelbacks. They were just starting to lose a little bit of the momentum that they had worked so hard to gain. A bit at the back end of their batting innings, but also how they came out the blocks to defend this chase. They've been bowling really nicely, fielding really nicely. That was a good catch after a few drops.
Good catch. Can Gemma Marriott get out of this over? One delivery to go. And does bowl nicely. Concedes one. Won't upset the Steelbacks too much because the new batter will be on strike. It's Izzy Routledge. We got 4 overs to go. And it's 107 for 3 as Hector hangs up the microphone and Charlie Harden drops his phone.
I've dropped just about everything possible to drop in the last few minutes, so apologies to anyone listening on the live stream that have heard a clatter of things and I went falling over at some point. But no, Middlesex are back in this game until that one moment from Finty Trussler, and the game has swayed again. What a brilliant knock of 54 from Trussler. She played so well and has been the main part of this Middlesex side in terms of boundary scoring and in terms of taking the initiative back of this game. But Izzy Routledge is a mighty fine batter as well. So very, very important to remember. Middlesex are well and truly in this game with 43 to win from 24 balls. This one's pulled away out towards deep mid-wicket by Routledge.
Yeah, we've got a game on, haven't we? Of as good as that innings was by Trussler, that run rate has now creeped up to 11. It's continued to grow, hasn't it? So I don't think the Steelbacks necessarily have to panic as yet. They've still got to complete this game well, but needing 11 and over is going to be a big ask to chase that down, particularly with the spinners.
Pulled away. Going to be one, I think. Northants continuing to bowl slowly and with precision. Every bowler's now found the speed for this surface. They know they need to lob it up. They know they need to pitch it up. Makes it very, very tricky for the batters to get the ball away. Oh, and that's turned. Brilliant delivery from Anisha Patel. Again above the eye line. A perfect length, and the ball grips. There's a big swing there from Izzy Routledge. Didn't quite get a hold of it. Sweeps again. Connects nicely in front of square. That is going to be 4. Middlesex needed that, and they're going to need a few more. Routledge moves to 6. 113 for 3. And now it's 37 needed of 20 balls, which doesn't sound too bad.
Not at all. It was nicely placed, wasn't it? Really nicely gapped between the pair of them. It's boundaries they've got to deal with. Where can they get another one? Nisha Patel's got 2 deliveries left in the over. All the protection is down there on the leg side. It's going to be pretty straight, you'd think, wouldn't you, from a line?
Another sweet little appeal from Patel. It's going to be a single, and his leg bar is given. And Hawley has a lot now on her shoulders. Out on 28, the set batter. Last ball in the over. Down the track she comes and turns it away into the leg side. They're going to push the first one hard. Again, they settle for 1. And that, for me, in this period of the game, has been a big difference between the two sides. Ascot and Preston were terrific between the wickets. Always looking to run the second one. Even from the start of the Northants batting innings, they were taking risky singles. But it paid off.
Yeah, it's well remembered. It was the standard they set, wasn't it? They weren't able to find the boundary rope, but they were able to put those Middlesex fielders under pressure. Again, another decent over for Middlesex, but that run rate now 11.7 for the final 3 overs.
Yeah, 35 needed. And I think that Ascot-Preston partnership is very underrated in that first innings. As this one is turned out towards mid-wicket. Emma Marriott continues her spell. The main thing we're looking back on this first innings, was how good the opening partnership was, how good Mabel Reid was at the top of the order, hitting boundaries. And I think the trickiest time to bat was when Middlesex found out that slower bowling was the option. This one is hit out through mid-wicket for a single. And Ascot and Preston were still able to score runs.
Yeah, I think there is something that's worth mentioning. You just spoke about the running between the wickets. There was a misfield by the Steelbacks fielder. They'd settled on 1. They weren't looking for the second. There could have been 1. They need those runs. They need to really up it. It's now climbed up to nearly 13 per over. Middlesex requires something special.
Hit nicely, but straight to long on. Yeah, it's those fine margins, isn't it? And it is a bit of a cliche and almost in some respects, a little bit of a basic, which can so often be overlooked. But in T20 cricket, especially in scores around the 150 mark, those 1s into 2s are so important. This is hit nicely, though, over mid-wicket. Is it going to get to the boundary? And it's brilliant fielding out on the rope. And it will just be 2.
Mabel Reid at it again. She's not put a foot wrong all day, has she? She was exceptional with the bat. She's been brilliant with the ball, and that is as good of a piece of fielding under pressure as you'll have seen in the deep. Full-length dive. Had to get the angle right to cut it off, because otherwise it was 4. Excellent work.
It's again with power. Straight to long on. Boundaries incredibly hard to come by, especially with fielders like Mabel Reid out on the rope. It's now 120 for 3, and it's 30 needed with 13 balls to go. Boundary is almost make or break now for Middlesex. That's hit nicely over square leg. Could this be the boundary? It takes a big skip out towards the rope and hits the boarding. There is that boundary Middlesex needed. And Routledge is the one to get it. So she moves to 11. It's 124 for 3 and 26 off the final 2 overs. Is very, very steep, but also doable. So Middlesex very much in this game. 2 batters who are incredibly capable at the crease and both becoming more and more set. Hawley's on 33 and Routledge on 11 off 7. You've got to say, it's a lot tighter than we thought it might be at the start, but Northants still in the box seat.
Yeah, still in front. 13 required for the final 2 overs. It's going to be Liz Russell, isn't it? to bowl from the David Capel end, and she has been the bowler that's been a little bit leaky. 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 28. Actually, in fact, it's going to be a change. It's going to be Anisha Patel to bowl her final over. She's just conceded the 17 from her 3. Pace off feels like the right answer, the right option.
Indeed. And I think it's always better in the penultimate over to just continue to tie that down. This one is short, pulled away up towards long on. It's going to take some fielding, and it's gone through. That's a huge moment. As Hawley connected with it well, it bounced just in front of the fielder, and they're never easy. But you got to say that should have been stopped. And it's a vital boundary now that sways just ever so slightly things back in the way of Middlesex.
Yeah, elected to try and stop it rather than take the catch, and just went straight through the hands.
Short again, this one more directly at the long off field, and it's gone over her this time. It's taken a huge bounce, and back-to-back 4s now. And Middlesex are really knocking on the door. Northants, their heads have dropped. And Middlesex, you've got to say, might even be on top of the game now.
It's the captain down there, isn't it? A long on. An absolute howler of those last 2 bits of fielding. Can Anisha Patel, can she respond?
Down the track, this time it's dropped. It was a great piece of fielding because it came back very fast. But Hawley, after back-to-back boundaries, was going for another, and it's actually a really good stop from Anisha Patel.
Yeah, yes, definitely drop catch. That's worth highlighting, worth mentioning, but has certainly stemmed the runs a little bit there. Save 4. 132 for 3. Saskia Hawley, 41 off 32.
18 off 9. Anisha Patel runs in. Should just be a single. Saskia Hawley. Oh, it's been fumbled. They're going to come back for a second. That's what you're talking about, Dan. And they made it. Brilliant work from these two. And the skipper out long on. Every time the ball goes to her now, she's going to be in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, it didn't look the most confident, did it? The last thing Gemma Marriott would have wanted there is the ball flying down back towards her again.
Skipping on this fast outfield. This time it's a sweep. It's top edge. Is it going over short fine leg? Again, it's been put down. That was just beyond the reach of Ella Phillips there at short fine leg. And they do settle for 2 here, Middlesex. But another chance on another day. That was a much trickier one than we've seen today. But it is a chance that possibly could have been taken. Another moment that sways Middlesex way.
Yeah, just misread it. Those top edges, they're going to spin, aren't they? They're going to get a little bit bigger on you as you're running away. Maybe just didn't quite react and turn quick enough. But fortunately for Northants, it didn't find the boundary.
Anisha Patel. And Hawley looking for another boundary, hitting it out to Marriott. And this time just does well. Low on confidence out there, but that hopefully should give her a bit of a boost. And it's a successful over that Middlesex needed. And it was 26 to win at the start of this one, and they've halved it. So 13 to win off 6.
Yeah, did exactly what was required. Good over for Middlesex. You'd have to say Gemma Marriott, the skipper, should have done better on the boundary rope there. Conceded 8 of the opening 2 deliveries. Bit unfortunate with some of the bounces, you could say, but you'd also have to say the skipper and the fielder just misread the ball as it hurtled towards her. Into the final over then. Inside the cutoff, which is great news for the Steelbacks, so they won't have to have any extra fielder inside that 25-yard circle. It's going to be Eva Phillips. 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 14. Has been given the responsibility to bowl the last.
She's bowled well. And it's some more of that slow ball, and it's going to be so tricky to get away. And Northants will be very, very gutted in how they've let Middlesex back into this game. There's been a couple of moments there on top of the first innings, and a run out and a little flurry of wickets sent things back in Middlesex's direction. Now something similar happens again. They had a great start with the ball, Northants, and they've just let it slip. Hawley on strike on 46. Pulls away out towards long on, skipping in front of the fielder. And they're going to come back for 2. So Hawley's going to keep the strike. It's good fielding out there in the deep. And 2 runs added.
Yeah, Marriott again. That cliche, isn't it? The ball just follows you and you don't want to see it. It was well stopped in the end. Wasn't, again, convincing, but she's under pressure. You can see she's just double over beneath us here. Heart rate's going to be high. She is in the hot spot, isn't she, down at long on.
Phillips in, and it's pulled away out towards cow corner. They're going to look for 2 again. More good fielding in the deep, but more good running. So it's 2 more runs added. And that now means it's 9 off 4 to win.
Excellent by Marriott. Cut the angle off, reacted really quickly. Had to cover a lot of ground. Went into the hands cleanly and got the throw away quickly as well.
50 up for Saskia Hawley. Batted really, really well. And it's actually a brilliant arc to her innings. Started nerdling and defensive at times, but just kept her wicket. And she's become more aggressive as the time's gone on. Hit some brilliant boundaries in the last few overs. Down the track this time, hits the bowler. That's a big moment. And it's brought a big cheer from the Northants crowd and the fielders as well. Which means it's now 9 off 3.
Just wondering, is there a way of bringing these boundary fielders round one? Is there one more that you can get down deep on the leg side?
That's a good hit down the ground. It's 1 bounce to Mary. It's gone over her head. It's taken a huge bounce off the hard, firm ground here at the Cinch County ground. It's bounced over her head, and Hawley gets another boundary out in that long on area. And it's now 5 to win with 2 balls left. She's been in all sorts down here, poor Gemma Marriott.
It's been busy. It's a great strike, isn't it? Great connection from Hawley. Found the middle of the bat, bottom hand, muscle, power. As you say, it just took a horrible bounce once again. That one completely over the head of Marriott. I think he might have gripped into the surface as well, just wrong foot, the fielder. But pressure, 1 hit away.
These are the great discussions. This is what T20 cricket is all about. 1 ball to go.
I think what could have been, I mean, there's a fielder out at deep cover. That ball's turning into the body of Saskia Hawley. Is she going to be able to access the boundary over the offside against the spin? Could the Steelbacks have brought those fielders around, had a deep mid-wicket, a cow corner, a long on, and a long off? In hindsight, it's gone now. The moment's gone. Might still have bounced over the head of the fielder at long on as well, but they wouldn't have had to have covered that ground.
And I think, just adding on your point there, it feels like that's her main scoring option, isn't it? Either straight over the bowler's head or just to the leg side of that. And you're right, you can almost have as straight a long on as physically possible without getting in the way of the sight screen. And then that cow corner nice and straight as well.
It's that hitting arc, isn't it? The hitting arc with the spin. That natural angle that's just going to be turning into the body. The momentum, that bottom hand coming through, where you're going to get your power from. But there is a long discussion here, isn't there, with the Steelbacks fielders. It's almost captained by committee in the middle now. 6 of them in conversation with what should happen next.
You can sometimes have too many voices. And it's going to be a cracker of a finish to this brilliant game. We've seen it to and fro from the start. Northants on top, Middlesex on top, Northants on top, and then it ends perfectly in the balance. 5 needed with 2 balls to go. And it's a fitting end to a brilliant afternoon here at the Cinch County ground. Izzy Routledge is running down to have a chat with her skipper, Saskia Hawley, who herself has also had a brilliant day. Bowled well, captained very well towards the end of the innings especially, offering encouragement, tactical advice that brought Middlesex back into this game, restricted Northants to under a score of 150. Ella Phillips is going to continue. She's down the ground. Has it hit the gap? It has. That's going to be 4, which means it's going to be 1 to win from 1 for Saskia Hawley, who has played a magnificent knock and completely changed the game in Middlesex' favour, especially in the last few overs.
Well, there's the answer to the question, whether she's going to go against the spin and target the offside. She's done exactly that. It was on the ground. 4 runs after the Steelbacks had moved that field around. They've got no option here, have they, but to put the squeeze on, make Hawley hit over the top, play for the tie. Obviously, there's a chance of the wicket, isn't there? So they're going to leave Mabel Reid out at deep mid-wicket. But I think at that point there, I feel as though that turn into the body, the drop into the leg side, is just an easy single to take.
Well, more discussions continue to happen, but the road ahead is simple for Northants. A dot or a wicket forces a tie. Mid-wicket comes in close. Cover comes in close. Fielders are walking in from the ring. It's all on this ball. It's been a brilliant afternoon. Here comes Phillips. Down the track and hit over the infield. It's heroics from Saskia Hawley. The Middlesex captain hits a match-winning knock. Finishes on 62 of 41 balls. Do not forget a brilliant 50 from Finty Trusser as well, which set Middlesex from a tricky start. At the end of the power play, they were just on 32 for 1. They were in trouble. They were behind the rate. They lost an early wicket. But the Middlesex batters have done a magnificent job today to keep themselves in it until the very, very last moment. Northants will be gutted. They let the game slip. They had a brilliant start to their batting innings. At 90 for 1, they looked on top of the game, set for a 170-plus run score. But Middlesex captained well. Saskia Hawley was brilliant out in the field. They bowled very well. Plenty of wickets for the slow bowlers for Middlesex, which kept them in the game. And you've got to say, it was a patient knock from both Finty Trusser and Saskia Hawley. And the tempo of their innings can increase towards the end, and they're able to get them over the line. A magnificent game comes to an end, and Middlesex come out on top.
Yeah, exactly what you want from a spectator's perspective, isn't it? Right down to the dying moments of the T20. All results were possible. And a real clutch performance from the Middlesex captain, Saskia Hawley. Finty Trusser, you mentioned as well. 54, weighted their innings brilliantly. Hawley in particular was happy to get in and play second fiddle when Trussler was doing the damage. And then when Trussler got out, Hawley took over and really put the Steelbacks bowlers to the sword and put them under pressure. A couple of interesting things, I think, would be, one, the power play for the Steelbacks was exceptionally good. We spoke a lot about the sweep. We didn't see Hawley and Trussler bring the sweep out. We didn't see them bring the ramp out. We saw them back their power down the grounds, and it's been successful today. Do you think the Steelbacks look back at that and think, did we lose too many wickets softly playing those types of shots?
Yeah, I think they'll look at a couple of things. I think the main thing for me, a big turning moment, was that run out of Gemma Marriott. They had a brilliant start, a brilliant power play at 68 for none from 7 overs. Then Marriott was dismissed. But also, you are right. There was a couple of moments where players were in brilliant positions and they slightly got themselves out playing shots maybe they shouldn't have. But I don't think you can really take that away from the Northants batters, who, especially at the top of the orders, batted very, very nicely. But I think this game mainly comes down to Saskia Hawley, both in the field and with the bat, and a great knock from Finty Trusser as well, which was just able to get Middlesex into a position to go on and win the game. It was almost a perfectly timed chase that just led up towards the end. Fine margins, but a brilliant battle between these two sides.
Yep, absolutely right. Middlesex victors by 7 wickets, chasing down that target of 150 off the final ball of the day. We're powered by Daffabet here at the Cinch County Ground at Northamptonshire County Cricket Club. Dan Jadzovic, Charlie Harden, Hector Vickers, I apologise. Fantastic job, chaps. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage and the cricket. We'll see you very soon here on Steelbacks TV for some more T20 cricket.